Hello. Welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. If you want more content, you can follow me on Patreon. I will be uploading more content on there that will be exclusive. The link is in the description. Please support me. 6 Kilo Siemens. Open black lens bracket 151 close black lens bracket graduation. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Lin, you have to help me, please. Obito quickly asked. This. I can only try, but I don't know if I can. Nohara Lin was a little worried, and she was not sure about Konoha's most terrifying teacher, Hazuki. Let's go to Kakashi. Let's intercede together. The teacher should forgive me. Obito was uncertain. Kakashi went out of the village for a mission, and although Kakashi performed well, Mr. Hazuki was always dissatisfied, and Kakashi was under a lot of pressure. Nohara Rin shook her head. Then what to do? This time is miserable. Obito was crying, feeling that if he couldn't get through this, his life would be very dark. You can only apologize. Hurry up and leave. The sooner you apologize, the better, but you can't be like Asuma, now he doesn't dare to go out. Nohara Rin suggested sympathetically. Yes, hurry up. You must not make the teacher wait for a long time. 1. Obito thought of something, his face instantly pale as paper, and hurriedly, 563, hurriedly ran to the Hyuga family station. After a few minutes, Obito and Nohara Rin finally came to Hazuki's house, outside the quiet courtyard. But Obito didn't dare knock on the door at all, and even stood far away, not daring to approach the gate of the courtyard at all. Come here, what are you doing so far away? Nohara Lin said helplessly. I don't dare, the big guy in the yard is really scary. Obito was sobbing, his eyes full of fear. He knew exactly what happened last time, it was a disaster. It's all right, the pepper fish won't hurt you, it's best to tease you, it's good. Nohara Lin opened her mouth to persuade. That's for you, last time Sanjiao fish swallowed me, almost scared me to death. Advertisement. Obito shook his head with a pale face, completely daring to go in. I'll help you. Besides, do you think Sanshoyu is scary, or Hazuki-sensei? Nohara Rin asked with her hands on her hips. Of course Hazuki-sensei is scarier. Obito said honestly. Then why don't you come here quickly? 1. Okay. Obito moved slowly, and it took a while to come to the gate of the courtyard. Nohara Rin shook her head helplessly, raised her fair little hand, and knocked gently on the door. Dong dong dong. There was a knock on the door, and then the courtyard door opened automatically. However, at the moment when the courtyard door opened, Obito rushed out far away. Because, a terrifying big head suddenly appeared and blocked in front of the door. This Sanjiao fish is even bigger. Obito's body trembled, looking at the hill-like figure. Yeah, Mr. Hazuki is really amazing. We can't see anything outside the courtyard, but after opening the door, it's a different scene. This is the charm of enchantment and sealing. Nohara Rin said with admiration, and then took a few steps forward and patted the terrifying big head. Sanjiao, I brought you a gift, be good. After Nohara Lin finished speaking, she brought some delicious food from the small bag and fed it to the pepper fish, which made the pepper fish sit in place. Or do you have a way? What did you give it? After Obito breathed a sigh of relief, he rushed over and asked curiously. It's a special food for Sansho fish, it was given to me by Sister Makoto, and Sansho fish especially likes to eat. Nohara Rin explained while leading Obito into the small courtyard. This small courtyard is no longer the one it used to be, but a completely renovated and expanded one. But even so, the huge mountain pepper fish still occupies most of the space. But the Sansho fish are as close to the door as possible, never near the house where Hazuki lives, it seems that they dare not. Advertisement. I heard that even those enchantment masters came to ask Mr. Hazuki for enchantment techniques, is this true? Obito said, looking at the sparkling enchantments around the courtyard. This enchantment cannot be seen outside, but if you watch it in the courtyard, it is very clear and very beautiful, like a colorful light. Of course, the teacher's spirit formation is the most powerful, and the medical ninjutsu is also very powerful. He is my idol. Nohara Rin put her hands together and said admiringly. I know this. It is said that Mr. Hazuki is a disciple of Master Tsunade, and he is very good at medical ninjutsu. Obito thought for a while and answered. No, the teacher is more powerful than Master Tsunade. Do you know the healing talisman? Nohara Rin suddenly whispered. Is it the healing talisman launched by Hokage-sama? I heard that it is very powerful, and it is very suitable for use in the battlefield. Obito thought for a while. Yes, this healing charm was developed by Mr. Hazuki, and it was developed at a very young age. Nohara Rin broke the news. No, I always thought it was launched by the medical department. Obito was shocked. So the teacher is too low-key. I tell you, this is what Hokage-sama bought with a lot of ninjutsu. According to legend, Hokage's popularity smashed the water glass. Nohara Rin explained with a smile, wondering how beautiful the scene was at that time. Mr. Hazuki is really amazing. It is said that Mr. Hazuki used to be a thorn and even beat our patriarch. Obito thought of something and his face turned dark. Yes, not only your patriarch, many people have been beaten. Nohara Rin covered her mouth and snickered, her big eyes turned into crescent moons. While talking about Hazuki's experience, the two walked to the gate of the inner courtyard, but at this time, their expressions gradually became serious. Because they have to face Hazuki next, the most terrible Hazuki teacher in Konoha. Teacher, here we come. Nohara Rin whispered at the door, then opened the door carefully and looked towards the living room. Their first glance locked on the figure on the sofa, the figure exuding an inexplicable aura. He still had a dark eye patch, handsome face, and indifferent expression. He didn't say a word, but he just sat there and was the focus of everyone's attention. Seeing Hazuki on the sofa, Rin Nohara and Obito's breathing stagnated slightly, and Obito didn't dare to look up at Hazuki. They tried their best to come to the living room, maybe lightly changing their slippers, and standing on the side of the sofa. Advertisement. Hello Hazuki-sensei. Nohara Rin and Obito bowed and saluted at the same time, standing beside them pretending to be pitiful. Nohara Rin even looked at Hazuki on the sofa with wide eyes. I'm sorry, teacher, I shouldn't be late, don't be angry, I will never be late in the future. Obito carefully assured. Yes, teacher, Obito actually helped the grandmother. He didn't mean it, so please forgive him. Nohara Rin tried her best to help, and even walked behind Hazuki with her small feet and gently massaged Hazuki's shoulders with her small hands. Teacher, just forgive him. Nohara Rin deliberately said cutely. Hazuki's voice echoed in the bedroom, causing the two little guys to prick up their ears. 3.7 inches as soon as you graduate, it seems like it's about to start. Hazuki spoke indifferently, without the slightest blame, but there was a slight difference in his voice. Such an attitude made the two little guys very strange. Originally, they thought Hazuki would be angry, but the result was different from what they had imagined. Today, you stay and eat. Hazuki said in a low voice. Have a meal. The two were at a loss, and Obito was even more uneasy. Teacher, are you really angry? I'll never be late again. Obito said hurriedly. To be honest, if he really beat him, he could accept it, but now the teacher's attitude seems a little wrong, which makes Obito panic. To celebrate your graduation today, I have something to tell you. Hazuki said in a low voice. Oh, good Hazuki-sensei. Obito and Nohara Rin looked at each other, both at a loss, feeling that today's teacher is weird. Open black lens bracket 152 close black lens bracket can't let go. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. But no matter how strange the teacher was, they didn't dare to say anything, but waited obediently and silently. Makoto and the others won't come back for dinner today. Rin, I'll leave the cooking to you. Hazuki waved his hand and motioned for Nohara Rin to cook. Okay Mr. Hazuki. Nohara Rin nodded her head and peeked at Hazuki and Obito with her big eyes before turning around and walking towards the kitchen. Sit down Obito. Hazuki pointed to the sofa next to him, his voice still low. Good teacher. Obito was a little reserved, sitting on the sofa uneasily, not knowing what was going on. Do you regret being my apprentice? Hazuki asked suddenly, a ray of light flickering under the dark blindfold. No regrets, you have taught me a lot, my strength has greatly improved, and I am no longer the tail of the crane. Obito said gratefully. Like this. Hazuki whispered, wanting to say something more, but in the end did not speak, instead took out a small wooden sculpture and handed it to him. This is your graduation gift. Thank you, Mr. Hazuki. 1. Obito was a little surprised. It was the first time he received a gift from a teacher, and he was very happy. Quickly took over the wood carving. Obito was surprised to find that the wood carving was actually him, which was very unexpected. Teacher, did you sculpt this? It's so real, it's exactly the same as the reduced version of me. 29. Obito looked at his lifelike self and asked in surprise. The size of this wood carving is very small, and it is slightly larger than a peanut bean. It is really amazing to carve such a real character from such a small material. If you like it, you can also go to the kitchen to help. Hazuki waved his hand. Good teacher. Advertisement. Obito hurriedly nodded and walked to the kitchen, but his eyes were still looking at the wood carving with curiosity. Bang. Whoops. 1. Obito slammed his head against the door frame, so he didn't dare to look around, and walked into the kitchen awkwardly. After a while, there were bursts of exclamations from the kitchen, and then Nohara Rin trotted to Hazuki's side, tugging at the corner of his clothes. Mr. Hazuki, do you have my graduation present? Nohara Rin asked pitifully, blinking her big eyes. Well, here it is. A small and exquisite wooden sculpture appeared in Hazuki's palm, and he handed it over. Wow, is this me? So small, so cute, Hazuki-sensei, you are amazing. Nohara Rin looked at the exquisite wood carving, her big eyes filled with joy, and she even turned around happily. Okay, let's cook. Hazuki shook his head helplessly. Well, go right away. Nohara Rin walked away with a smile, the silver bell-like voice echoed from time to time, even in the kitchen. Listening to the laughter in the kitchen, Hazuki tapped the sofa with his index finger and slowly fell into deep thought. His improvement over the years has been incalculable, his two eyes awakened an ability every once in a while, and the physique of the Otsutsuki clan has increased to a terrifying level. Powerful perception, terrifying spiritual power, surpassing Otsutsuki Kagaya's undead body, absorbing ninjutsu, super recovery. It can be said that he is another enhanced version of Otsutsuki Kagaya, an absolute superpower. There has also been a lot of progress in the plot. Now the plot has reached 69%, and it is only 1 point away from completing the task. It can be said that it is possible to complete the task at any time and get the basic reward, which is 5% Saitama template plus 10% Tornado template. In terms of apprenticeship, there has also been considerable progress, and a large number of plot characters have become his disciples, increasing the success rate of his mission. But there is one person who is very stubborn, and that is Uchiha Fugaku. Originally, Hazuki did not take him seriously, and even planned to accept him as a disciple some time ago. Advertisement. Unexpectedly, Uchiha Fugaku refused, which is very surprising. Uchiha Fugaku opened Mangekyo in the Third War, and this matter can't be delayed, and Terumi Mei of the Land of Water can't let it go. Hazuki made a decision secretly, while feeling the change in his physique. His special physique has entered the stage of slow improvement, and this kind of improvement is very slow, which makes Hazuki frown. In order to improve his physique faster, Hazuki already has a method, and even this method is about to succeed. In fact, the method is very simple, that is to improve the physique of Makoto, Kushina, Tsunade, and make them transform into the Otsutsuki clan. At that time, when their blood is collected again, they will be able to refine and take medicine again, so as to improve themselves and continue to transform. Pity. The three of them have been improving very slowly. After so many years, they finally showed signs and gradually began to transform. If I guess right, Tsunade will be able to shed into the Otsutsuki clan in the near future, and her blood will be of great use to me. Hazuki is looking forward to it, he likes the feeling when his strength increases, so he is also prepared for Tsunade's blood. All the layouts are ready, just wait for the situation to change. Hazuki said secretly, turned his head and looked to the other side, through the ripples in the space, he looked at the shadow clone of the Land of Water. In fact, he still has a task in progress, that is, the task of learning 500 kinds of talents. If you complete it, you will get a 5% Saitama template. Now, he is only short of 2 talents to complete the task, and this shadow clone of the Land of Water is one of those talents, painting. The painting is still close to reaching the Grand Master, and I will do it myself in the afternoon. After making the decision, Hazuki is stuck waiting. Not long after, Nohara Rin came out with the food with a smile on her face. Teacher Hazuki, please try the food I made. I have been studying with Sister Makoto for a long time. 1. Nohara Rin raised her small hand and handed the chopsticks to Hazuki, blinking her eyes in anticipation. Advertisement. Okay. Hazuki nodded, not politely. Where did Sister Makoto and Sister Kushina go? Why didn't they come back for dinner? Nohara Rin asked curiously. They've gone to visit their friends. Let's sit down and eat. Obito, don't be stupid, let's eat together. Good teacher Hazuki. 3 people sat and ate together and spent lunch time in a warm atmosphere. After lunch, Obito and Rin Nohara said goodbye and left. However, Obito felt that today's Hazuki was wrong, obviously better than usual. Lin, what's wrong with the teacher today? I feel better than before. Obito asked with some doubts. The teacher is already very good. As long as you complete the task assigned by the teacher and don't provoke him, you don't need to worry about anything. Nohara Rin smiled. Yeah, there was a spy who wanted to investigate the teacher's news and kidnap the teacher's wife, and then the spy disappeared. So far, there is no news. Obito whispered. This. Nohara Rin was silent. Similar incidents have happened several times. Many spies from the outer village will disappear from the world as long as they provoke the teacher and his family. Such strange things have also created the reputation of teacher Hazuki. Many naughty children are afraid of this teacher and dare not be disrespectful. And there is another very terrifying thing that no one dares to mention so far. Even Lord Hokage chose to remain silent because of this. It can be said that this teacher Hazuki is even more terrifying than expected, and it was very unexpected that the two of them received the teacher's gift. Lin, you often go to the teacher's house. What happened to the whole thing? Why is third Hokage banned from mentioning it? Obito asked curiously. I can't say. You'd better not ask. Asuma doesn't dare to go out now, it's him who spread the matter. Nohara Rin shook her head and her face was a little dignified, but she didn't want to make the topic too heavy, so she continued. Actually, the teacher is still very good, much better than you think. A few days ago, I got sick and felt a little uncomfortable, but I was cured by the teacher at a glance, but it was amazing. After Nohara Rin finished speaking, she suddenly lowered her voice and said, and the teacher has a weakness, it's not a weakness. 153a. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Nohara Rin paused for 2 seconds, then said again after thinking about it. The teacher is actually very concerned about his wife, especially Makoto's sister. Usually Makoto's sister's advice, the teacher will listen carefully. I see, I understand. Obito listened carefully, intending to plead for forgiveness when he made a mistake. By the way, don't bring that up again, do you understand? Nohara Rin urged. Don't worry, I get it. Obito nodded solemnly, and then left with Rin Nohara. The other side. Kurigakure, the land of water, is a sparsely populated street. Hazuki used transformation technique to only change his head into the appearance of Genos, and then walked silently on the street towards a painting shop. After Rin Nohara and the others left, Hazuki came to the land of water for the first time and took back Shadow Clone. It is a pity that the painting is almost a grandmaster. If you want to improve, you need to increase the painting methods, such as different painting methods and techniques. According to Shadow Clone's memory, there was a shabby painting shop in Kurigakure, and there were several good techniques there that were perfect for drawing facial expressions. Hazuki came this time to study in the past, and strive to upgrade his painting to Grandmaster after learning, so as to complete the system tasks as soon as possible. However, he looked at the sparse streets, thought of the incident some time ago, shook his head slightly and walked forward. A few minutes later, he stopped in front of a dilapidated shop and looked up at the shop sign. Open black lens bracket children's painting shop close black lens bracket. It's here. 1. Hazuki looked at the messy shop, the narrow shop front, and the little loli with the boring paintings on the counter, frowning secretly. Welcome, uncle, do you want to buy a painting? Do you want a finished product or a current painting? The little loli at the counter saw Hazuki's arrival and hurriedly smiled. Uncle. Hazuki paused slightly when he heard the title. Although he used Geno's face, he was also a handsome young man, how could he become an uncle? Amusing in his heart, Hazuki asked, are you recruiting painters? Painter. When little loli heard this, her little face immediately showed a frustrated expression. Uncle, my shop is so dilapidated, where can I hire painters, and it's a problem for me to eat by myself. Little Loli sighed and looked helpless, her little face tangled together. Advertisement. Don't worry, I don't want money. Hazuki smiled. Don't want money. Eh? Why? Little Loli was a little dazed, it was the first time she encountered such a thing. Just give me the painting method. Hazuki finally said the purpose of this trip. So it is, I think about it. 1. Little Loli tapped her fair chin with her tender index finger, and blinked her big eyes thinking. During this period, her big eyes kept rolling, and she looked very strange, and then she thought of something, and her eyes lit up. Is this good? Before you learn this painting, you must work in the shop all the time. Little Loli has thought about it. It takes a long time to learn painting. This requirement will definitely allow the other party to work in the store all the time, and she can save a lot of time. Cleaning, tidying up the shop, selling picture scrolls, in addition to painting her own, all the chores can be taught to each other, so that she can go out to play. Thinking of this, little Loli was very happy, thinking about where to play later. She didn't notice that Hazuki on the opposite side was dumbfounded, because these painting methods were very simple for him. His own painting skills have reached the limit and are several times stronger than those of the masters of painting, but the system requirements are too high, and he is still a little short of painting skills. As long as you add this skill, you can quickly reach the Grand Master. It can be said that with the knowledge in this book, he will be able to master quickly, and even draw inferences from one case, and extend more methods. However, Hazuki did not continue to say anything, but nodded and said, "Okay, give me the painting method." Okay. The little Loli was very happy, and quickly ran to the innermost of the counter with her little feet, and brought a book from under the counter. Hey, this is the first volume, the second volume is in my house, I'll show it to you later. By the way, what's your name, uncle? My name is Yuan. The little Loli was a little cute and said, blinking her big eyes, looking at Hazuki curiously. You can call me by you. After Hazuki took over the book, he watched it carefully, and quickly threw himself into thinking about painting. This facial painting method records in great detail, starting from emotions and expressing different emotions with facial features, which is of great reference value. Hazuki estimates that as long as he learns this knowledge, his painting will definitely reach the Grand Master, thus adding another skill. So he read it carefully, and even gradually sank into it, becoming more and more fascinated. This uncle seems to be someone who loves painting. I shouldn't have been careful before. Forget it. I didn't want to take care of your meals, and I will take care of your meals in the future. Little Loli said secretly, looking at Hazuki, who was fascinated by learning, she somewhat admired. She knows how boring painting is, especially in the early stage of painting. Like before, if she wasn't particularly interested, she wouldn't stick to it. But even if she is very interested, she sometimes feels boring and wants to go out to play, plus her out of character, painting time is not long. Fortunately, she has a good teacher. The previous owner of this store was her teacher, who taught her a lot of painting knowledge, and finally made her paintings reach the point of sale. Certainly. Advertisement. She still remembers many skills. As long as she keeps working hard, there is definitely room for improvement, and she will be even better. So she is taking the test. If this uncle by you works, then she will give pointers 5, which can be regarded as taking care of him. But at this stage, she just wants to go out and have fun and come back later. As for the paintings in the store, she is not worried at all. These are all drawn by her hands on practice. No one buys them for a long time. They are almost broken. The most valuable thing in the store is the storefront, and this thing cannot be stolen. And this uncle does not have chakra fluctuations on him. He looks like an ordinary person, and she is not afraid of such a person as a ninja, so she leaves with confidence. Uncle Bayu, the shop is handed over to you. Those paintings can be sold for any price. It's a pity to throw them away. I'll go first. After the little Loli finished speaking, she ran out like the wind, and her whole person was like a bird flying into the blue sky, jumping quickly on the roof of the street. It's a pity that she never thought that just a few minutes after she ran out, she met someone, a tall Jonin with a handsome face. Dad, why are you here? Little Lolita said a little depressedly. If I don't come again, You will stay in that broken shop every day. There are ninjas inappropriate, so you have to learn how to draw. Jun Lang Jonan said. I'm not here to make money, our family needs money very much now. Little Loli bowed her head helplessly. It's good for me to make money, you can improve your strength, this ninja world is not peaceful. Jun Lang Jonan sighed. I know, then I'll go talk to Uncle Bai Yu and come back in 2 days. Little Loli said. Uncle Bai Yu. Jun Lang Jonan wondered. I'm an ordinary person who likes to draw. I don't even need a salary to learn how to draw. I hired it today. Little Loli explained with a smile. Ordinary people who like to draw. Jun Lang Jonan frowned, somewhat suspicious, but he didn't take it too seriously. Because of the 3 consecutive large-scale investigations in the village, most of the spies were found and killed, and a few escaped. At this stage, no one dares to make trouble, let alone show his body so blatantly, so Jun Lang Jonan suspects at most. He plans to accompany his daughter to see it in 2 days. At this stage, he needs to send his daughter home first, and then quickly complete the task. Therefore, they left directly and chose to go home. 10 days later, the father and daughter traveled together again, heading for the painting shop. But this time, Jun Lang Jonan suffered some injuries, and there are traces of bandages on his hands. Dad, you should recuperate at home. Uncle Bai Yu is a painting lover, and now he is still learning the materials I left. Little Loli said. Let me see, there are a lot of people in this world with ulterior motives. Jun Lang Jonan doubted. Dad, you are too suspicious. That broken shop has nothing at all. At most, the store is worth a little money. Besides, it's fine in the village. Little Loli shook her head helplessly. It is very common for strangers to find a job. At most, she is more conscientious, and directly through the shop to the other party. The items in the main shop are nothing to gain, and she is very relieved. Advertisement. It's really okay under normal circumstances, but you trust others too easily. As ninjas, we have to be skeptical about many things, understand? Oh, I got it, Dad. Little Loli seemed to have understood something, nodded her head, and then added, if there are consequences, the store will be damaged at most, probably not. Who knows? As the two walked, they said that little Loli gradually became uneasy, worried that the storefront would be damaged, so they quickened their pace. But, when they came to the vicinity of the store, they stopped immediately. Because there were many people in front of their store, people pointed at the store and seemed to be discussing something. It won't really break my shop, will it? Little Loli said worriedly and hurried forward. But at this time, 2 old Li Wanghao heads emerged from the crowd and scrambled for a box from each other. You dead old man, this is a painting I waited for all night, if you dare to rob me, I will give it to you. Obviously I bid higher. This painting is mine, don't try to grab it. Go away, I've paid for it. I paid too. The 2 old men scolded and shoved, fighting for the picture scroll in their hands. This scene made little Loli and Jun Lang Jonan dumbfounded, because these 2 old men knew each other. These 2 are famous painters, their paintings are sought after by countless people, and they are famous painters in the land of rain. They even painted several portraits of the daimyo, an existence that would not be despised wherever they went. But at this moment, it is unbelievable that 2 famous painters fought in front of the public and were fighting to secure the box. With shock, little Loli couldn't help but said, 2 masters, what are you fighting for? Of course it's Master Bai Yu's painting. You don't even know this. Master Bai Yu's painting is very precious. There are few graves in the world. The 2 old men sighed, and then fought again. But the little Loli who heard their words was dumbfounded, she was stunned for a while and finally reacted. Dad, I seem to have been deceived. Little Loli said cutely. Yes, what are you going to do? I'm going to question him, if he can lie to me again. Open black lens bracket 154 close black lens bracket leave. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. When Jun Lang Jonan heard his daughter's words, he shook his head helplessly, and at the same time thought about what kind of person this Uncle Bai Yu was. I vaguely feel that this is a middle-aged man who really likes to paint, and has high painting attainments. With anticipation, Jun Lang Jonan looked left and right, and finally outside the crowded store, he could see clearly the true face of Uncle, and then 3 black lines appeared on Jonan's forehead. I said, daughter. This is the uncle you said. Obviously very young. Anyone who was more than 5 years older than me is an uncle. 1. The little loli stared at the shop silently, with a small nose, her big eyes wandering around. Uncle Bai-Yu is so good at painting. If I keep him in the shop, wouldn't I be able to make a lot of money? I just have to think of a way. Little loli thought quickly, and she quickly thought of something, and her eyes lit up. Dad, there are too many people at the door, and the store door is blocked by them. You push them away and let me pass. Little loli said. Okay. Look at me. The handsome Jonan was also unequivocal, relying on Jonan's strength and physique. He forced his way through the crowd and pushed forward. Hey, what are you doing? Don't squeeze. You go to the line, we'll be there first. 1. Don't think it's great that you're a ninja, we won't give way. The crowd continued to shove each other to stop Jun Lang Jonan from moving forward. Little loli couldn't stand it anymore. She took a step forward and shouted, my father is Jonan, so let's get out of the way. Little loli's voice reverberated, which seemed very crisp and sweet, and also made the noisy scene quiet. Jonan. Whose Jonan is so crazy? A heavy voice came from the crowd, and there was a faint echo of chakra's fluctuations. Because of this voice, everyone gave way to a passage, gradually revealing the image of the speaker. It was a tall and burly man with slanted knife scars on his face. He looked very fierce. At first glance, he was not a master to mess with, but the forehead protector on his head was squeezed crookedly. The appearance of this person made Xiao Loli's father's face change slightly, and he hurriedly said, Sir, you are also here. Huh, do you know me? The fierce man tilted his head and said, the scar on his left face looked hideous. Advertisement. Knowing, I once participated in a large-scale mission, and it was the army you led at that time. The cold sweat on Jonan's head looks very restrained. Well, then line up well. The fierce man lowered his eyes and said lightly, and then he continued to turn his head and wait with a blank expression. Yes. Jun Lang Jonan finally breathed a sigh of relief and turned back to little loli. Daughter, I'm afraid we won't be able to get in. Even the minister is waiting. He is a very strong ninja in the village. It's obviously my shop, why can't I go back? I'm not happy. Little Lolita Yao Yao's small head pouted in dissatisfaction. There's no way. The first few are well-known people, we can't provoke them, I guess Mizukage can make them get out of the way. Jun Lang Jonan shook his head helplessly, feeling that it was a bit difficult now. However, at this moment, CJDH, just when there was nothing they could do, the procession suddenly parted a path and the minister came over. Master Bai-Yu let you in. Little loli and Jun Lang Jonan were slightly stunned when they heard this, and immediately became ecstatic. The little loli jumped and ran to the store, and even rolled her eyes while running. She had a little admiration for this Uncle Bai-Yu. I didn't expect that Uncle Bai-Yu was so powerful that he could even let the minister convey information. It seems that Uncle Bai-Yu must be left this time. Little loli came to the store quickly with her little feet, and soon saw Uncle Bai-Yu who was painting, and around him were a few cute girls. These girls are tidying up the shop, cleaning, tidying up the whole shop, and even repairing the damaged areas. The original dilapidated shop has long since been renovated, and it is completely different from before, which surprised little loli. But what surprised her even more was that even when these girls were busy, they would look at Uncle Bai-Yu with admiration. This advertisement. Little loli was stunned, and her little head couldn't react for a while. She felt that it was a very wrong decision to not come to the store these days. She clearly saw that when people looked at Uncle Bai-Yu, it was either with admiration or respect, which was enough to prove that Uncle Bai-Yu's painting skills were very good. This also made the little loli very curious and wanted to see Hazuki's paintings, so the little loli quickly ran to Hazuki's side in front of everyone's eyes. Uncle Bai-Yu, can you show me your painting? Little loli said crisply, blinking her big eyes and waiting. But she didn't notice that the people around were stunned at this moment, and 3 black lines appeared on everyone's head. The girls who were tidying up the store suddenly flashed big eyes, and some couldn't believe this scene. Master Bai-Yu, who was respected by everyone, and the handsome Master Bai-Yu, was actually called Uncle, which was unexpected. Therefore, at this moment, all was silent, and people looked at her with strange eyes. You wait a moment. Hazuki pointed to the seat next to him and shook his head helplessly. This little loli is really cute, but he can't talk about it now, because another new work of his is about to be born. After several consecutive days of painting, his painting skills have reached the Grandmaster, but in the past 2 days he was so itchy that he couldn't help painting a few more paintings, and the sense of accomplishment that the paintings were sold was quite fun. This is also the reason why he did not prevent others from buying paintings, because it was also a good life experience, which made him have more fun while improving his strength. Ding. It has been judged that the strength has surpassed Sarutobi Hiruzen by a large margin. Congratulations to the owner for obtaining a 0.05% template. Hazuki, who was painting, paused for a second, then resumed painting, but his mind was thinking about another person, Orochimaru. In fact, the strength of Jiraiya and Orochimaru has already reached the cage level, but the system judgment must be greatly exceeded. If you don't want to wait for the system judgment, then you can defeat Sarutobi Hiruzen. Hazuki was not in a hurry to let them challenge. Anyway, there is time, not in a hurry. Orochimaru has been addicted to the reincarnation technique recently, and his strength has improved slowly, but it doesn't matter, he has surpassed Sarutobi Hiruzen anyway, and the system will determine that it will be a matter of time. Hazuki said secretly, and soon after finishing the new painting, he sold it again, and then sent everyone away. There were only 3 people left in the entire store, except for him, the little lowly father and daughter. But at this time, Hazuki saw a person, or sensed a person. That person is his new apprentice. Her name is Terumi Mei, the future Mizukage, and she is also a beautiful young girl. Advertisement. At this moment, she is walking on the nearby streets with a smile, her long red hair fluttering in the wind, looking very youthful and beautiful. As a woman with 2 bloodline boundaries, her talent is naturally not bad. As long as she is accepted as a disciple, the task will be further completed. So Hazuki started packing and was about to leave to take Terumi Mei as a disciple. Uncle, are you leaving? Little Lolita hurriedly asked when Hazuki packed up her things, her big black eyes filled with unease. Well, we agreed that I can leave after I learn to draw, there is nothing I need to learn here. Hazuki opened his mouth with a smile, and walked out with the things in his hand. I'm joking, uncle, wait, I'll give you half of this store for free. Can we run it together? Little Loli said pitifully, afraid that Hazuki would leave. No. Hazuki shook his head in refusal and walked out of the shop with firm steps, but stopped again when he reached the door. I saw your paintings, you have a good talent, and if you don't give up, you may become a master. After Hazuki finished speaking, he waved his hand and walked away, and quickly disappeared into the street. In the store, only the little loli left in a state of despair, and the handsome Jonin in a dazed state. Dad, why don't you help me keep uncle, he is a master. Little loli said a little depressed. Yes, why didn't I keep it? Jun Lang Jonin was taken aback for a moment, then his expression changed drastically. It's not right, it's definitely not right. There must be something wrong with this master. He is definitely not from the village. I'll check the records, and the records of entering and leaving the village. 1. The more Junlang Jonin thought about it, the more solemn his face became, and he even felt that this incident was more terrifying than he imagined. Dad, what are you talking about? What's wrong? Why do you want to check the records? Little Loli was so cute, she didn't know what happened to Daddy. You wait for me here first, don't go anywhere, I'll come when I go. Jun Lang Jonin disappeared with a squeak, leaving only the dazed little Loli. What's wrong with Daddy? Why is it so solemn? Little Loli couldn't figure it out, so she could only wait for Daddy to return. Open black lens bracket 155 close black lens bracket so weak. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After a few minutes, the handsome Jonin is back again, but his face is unusually ugly. Dad, what's the matter with you? Little Loli looked at her father and asked worriedly. I didn't expect it to reach this level, I'm afraid he is a cage-level powerhouse. Jun Lang Jonin said solemnly. Cage-level powerhouse. What is Dad talking about? Why can't I understand? The little Loli was cute, blinking with big eyes. This master by you is not easy, sit down and listen to me. Jun Lang Jonin took a deep breath and continued with a dignified expression. Did you know? When Master Bai Yu left just now, I was at a loss and was in a daze. This is absolutely impossible for a Jonin like me. You mean, you fell into an illusion? Little Loli was surprised. I wouldn't be so surprised if it was an illusion, but this is definitely not an illusion, and I can't even judge what kind of ability this is. Jun Lang Shang Nin said again. This, you mean, it's all because of Uncle Bai Yu? Little Loli eyes widened. Yes, it is definitely him. I checked the records of the village just now and found that there is no such person in the village, and there is no record of him entering or leaving the village. This shows that he sneaked in secretly, and he is so open and honest in the village, which has attracted so many people's pursuit, but he has not been investigated or suspected. This is very wrong. Jun Lang Jonan spoke again. The more he spoke, the more solemn his expression became. No, then why are you suspicious now? Little Loli said cutely. If I'm not mistaken, he may have some kind of ability to affect people's subconscious, and he didn't use it on you, so you're fine, and you woke me up. Jun Lang Jonan explained again, his expression seemed very complicated. It turned out to be like this. So Master Bai Yu was taking care of me. Little Loli was stunned, clenching Bai Ninan's little hand. Advertisement. Alas, although I don't want to admit it, this master really doesn't mean to hurt you, or even the village, he may be a wandering painter. Jun Lang Jonan sighed, not knowing how to express his feelings, and not knowing whether to report this matter. Dad, we have to help Uncle Bai Yu keep a secret, and the village treats us like that. Little Loli bit her lower lip lightly. This. Jun Lang Jonan hesitated a little, but thinking about what the village had done, and thinking that even if he reported the matter himself, there would be no good results, he fell silent. Looked up. Jun Lang Jonan looked at his daughter again, thinking that she was also involved. He nodded and said, okay, let's keep a secret together. Well, thank you Dad, I will learn to draw and make more money when I look back. Okay, learn to draw well, Dad supports you. Uh-huh. The warm and happy laughter echoed in the brand new shop, making this warm afternoon even warmer. The southeast corner of the village, number 5 training ground. Terumi Mei came to the training ground playing the kunai in her hands. The kunai danced in her small hands like a butterfly, and it looked very beautiful. Quietly standing on the training ground, Terumi Mei flicked her little hand, and Kuwu took the cold light across the air, hitting the bullseye with a chopping sound. So slow. A low voice came from behind, followed by footsteps from far and near. Terumi Mei heard this, with a hint of coldness in her eyes, then turned her head to look. I saw a handsome guy wearing a pitch-black blindfold coming from outside the training ground. Terumi Mei was surprised by his slender figure, his white hair, and his special temperament. Slow. Are you talking about my kunai throwing? Terumi Mei looked Hazuki carefully, not angry. Yes, it's like a child playing. Hazuki said indifferently, standing next to Terumi Mei. Advertisement. Oh, how about a game? Terumi Mei took out a few kunai again, with a hint of unwillingness in her words. I'm not interested, it's not interesting to win a child. Hazuki spoke again calmly, his eyes twinkling slightly under the jet-black blindfold. What did you say? Terumi Mei narrowed her eyes and stared at the handsome guy next to her. As the owner of Shuangshuiji Boundary, her strength is very strong. The students of the same period are only genin, but she has become shunin, and her strength is the existence that everyone looks up to. Moreover, she is already in her teens, not a child at all, and even has countless suitors, which has also created her absolute self-confidence. But today, she was a little unhappy. Because the handsome guy next to him with extraordinary temperament actually looked down on her, which made her very dissatisfied. Why haven't I met you? You are such a unique person, even if I see you once, I will remember. Who are you? Anbus. Terumi Mei did not lose her judgment because of her emotions, but calmed down quickly. For flowers. Are you complimenting me? Hazuki shook his head amusingly. At this moment he has changed back to his original face, the dark eye patch covers most of his face, which looks very mysterious. What do you think? Terumi Mei raised her eyebrows and looked at Hazuki carefully. Why are you approaching me? Want to get my attention? My new suitor. Terumi Mei spoke softly, playing with kunai in her fair little hands, her big eyes meowing to Hazuki from time to time, and a faint smile tugged at the corners of her lips. Although she would reject the suitor verbally, it was the first time she had met such a temperamental suitor, so she was a little curious. Are you so narcissistic as a teenager? Hazuki was speechless. He originally wanted to provoke this girl, then defeat her in every way and accept her as a disciple, but he didn't expect this Terumi-Mei to be so narcissistic. Advertisement. Narcissism. It's just self-confidence. Say what you want. Terumi-Mei F found that the other party was not a suitor, and there was a slight disappointment in her heart, but she stabilized her attitude. The purpose is very simple, to accept you as a disciple. Hazuki said straight to the point. Oh. Terumi-Mei was surprised, she never expected such an outcome, and asked again with a suspicious look, are you sure? Of course. Hazuki nodded. Why? I'm curious about your identity. Terumi-Mei questioned again and couldn't figure out who the person who appeared out of nowhere was, but she was already on alert, ready to fight. Forget it. Let's talk about winning. Hazuki took a step forward after saying that. Whoosh whoosh. Countless kunai danced and flew out of Terumi-Mei's hands with a cold glow. Open black lens bracket lava style dissolving weird technique. Close black lens bracket. A wide range of viscous and corrosive acid spewed out after kunai, sweeping towards Hazuki with terrifying power. Puff. Blood sprayed. All the kunai hit Hazuki's vitals. Terumi-Mei looked at Hazuki who was bleeding and froze in place. It's so weak. Is it really a suitor? Damn it. I've made a big disaster. Terumi-Mei hurriedly controlled lava style in midair to separate. I actually suspected that he was from the outer village, I was too sensitive. Worried, Terumi-Mei hurriedly stepped forward to check, but she just took 2 steps when she suddenly realized that something was wrong. What's the matter? On. Open black lens bracket 156 close black lens bracket teacher. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Terumi-Mei looked at Hazuki who was lying on the ground and frowned, because the other party hadn't called out a single word of pain from beginning to end, even if he fell in a pool of blood. However, she took a few steps forward to investigate carefully, and found that the other party was seriously injured, and even when her hand touched the other party, it was stained red by the other party's blood. The small white hands and the dark red blood formed a sharp contrast. Damn, what's wrong with me? I'm still doubting it. 1. Terumi-Mei hurriedly helped her up and rushed towards the medical department. Her speed is very fast, even with a person, the whole person gallops on the roof like a bird, causing many homeowners to complain. But Terumi-Mei didn't care about this, but quickly came to the medical department and asked for the help of medical ninjas. Very wounded. 1 inch. After seeing the injury, the medical ninjas hurriedly began to rescue. 5, 6, 7. And even a scene of 5 or 6 people helping at the same time appeared at one time. Terumi-Mei, on the other hand, stood nervously outside the medical room, clenching her little hands tightly, scolding herself for being too sensitive, and at the same time blaming herself for not being too hard. That's it. The rescue was spent in Terumi-Mei's self-blame, and it wasn't until a long time ago that the medical ninjas came out with a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it was delivered in time, otherwise it would be over. In the future, pay attention. Your teacher is better at theory after all. The medical ninja urged. My teacher. Terumi-Mei was puzzled. The person she had only known was a stranger, but why did the medical ninja say that? With deep doubts, Terumi-Mei lightly opened her lips and said, this is not my teacher, I don't know him. What nonsense are you talking about? Your teacher has taught you for so long, how can you say that? It's too much. Advertisement. The medical ninja rebuked loudly, and the other medical ninjas around were also angry. This. Terumi-Mei looked at the indignant medical ninjas, her temples rubbed with headaches, and wondered if these people had a brain problem. He's really not my teacher, we just met today. Terumi-Mei defended. Why not? Before, you didn't know how to use the blood to follow the boundary at all, and it was only under the guidance of your teacher that you learned to use it, otherwise you would not have such a strong strength. The medical ninja said angrily. Yes, your teacher paid so much for you, do you treat him with such an attitude? It's too much, you don't even recognize your own teacher, you don't deserve to be a ninja. Countless reprimands echoed in his ears, making Terumi-Mei's head cloudy, and a trace of doubt was buried in his heart. However, as the future Mizukage, she is not to be fooled. Instead, she took a deep breath with a cold light in her eyes. I was unknowingly caught in an illusion. It's all fake. Give it to me. Chakra surging frantically, rolling like waves in Terumi Mei's body, but Terumi Mei is surprised that the scene in front of her has not changed in the slightest. Those medical ninjas still looked like they were scolding, and everyone looked at her with angry eyes. What's going on? Can't untie it. Impossible. Open it for me. Terumi Mei mobilized chakra again and tried to untie it. But, no matter how hard she tries, no matter what means she uses, it won't work. Why is this? Is this all true? Terumi Mei said in disbelief. Snapped. Advertisement. With a slap on the shoulder, Terumi Mei turned her head to look, only to see her most respected sister Mizuki, who was already standing beside her. Sister Shui Wuyu, why are you here? Terumi Mei was surprised, feeling the pain in her shoulder, thinking that the pain could unravel the illusion, but looking at the unchanging environment, she fell into self-doubt. I heard that you hurt your teacher. You are wrong. Your teacher has paid so much for you, you shouldn't treat him like this. Mizuki said with a sigh, and patted Terumi Mei's shoulder again. Teacher. But I really just met him, and he is so weak, how could he be my teacher? Terumi Mei said with a foggy head. Your teacher is a theoretical researcher, isn't it normal for him to be weak? Is your current state really normal? Shui Wuyu asked suspiciously. I don't know, I don't feel right. Terumi Mei felt like she was going crazy, everything in front of her was so real, but something was wrong. She rushed to the street quickly, looking at the real people coming and going, feeling the light breeze, looking up at the blue sky and white clouds in the sky, she fell into serious self-doubt. What's going on? What's going on? Did I lose my memory? With disbelief, Terumi Mei quickly ran around the village, carefully checked everything in the village, and found that everything was normal, but only this teacher. All her memories are stuck in the past, at the training ground. Why is this happening? Everything is true. Everyone says that he is my teacher, even Sister Shui Wuyu. Is my memory confused? With deep suspicion, Terumi Mei talked with many people in the village and asked if she really had a teacher, and got a unified answer, that is her teacher. But Terumi Mei was still suspicious, and even found a few acquaintances to try to solve the illusion with chakra, but unfortunately she did not show any signs of illusion. Even after she stabbed herself with Kuu and saw the red blood, she finally determined that she was not in an illusion. Advertisement. What the hell is going on here? Is he really my teacher? I forgot about him for some reason. Terumi Mei clenched her fists tightly, becoming more and more suspicious of life and more uncertain of her own thoughts. With such emotions and thoughts, Terumi Mei came to the medical department again to visit her teacher. You're here, sit down. The teacher on the hospital bed was as pale as paper, but she didn't have the slightest sense of blame, and instead let her sit down. Sorry. Terumi Mei didn't know what to say, and the whole person seemed a little dazed. In the end, she could only break the silence with an apology at 3.7. It's okay, I don't blame you. There was still no words, but it was heartwarming to hear, and Terumi Mei felt a touch of emotion in her heart. Are you really my teacher? Terumi Mei questioned. Yes, although you have forgotten me, I can accept you as a disciple again. 1. With Wen Xian's voice echoing in her ears, Terumi Mei was startled, she couldn't help but believe it, but she quickly became vigilant again. Sorry, my current state is not right, I need some time. Terumi Mei shook her head. Okay, you can take as long as you want. The warm voice reappeared. Terumi Mei was even more silent, but she still kept her vigilance in her heart. I even plan to figure out what's going on in the next time. Open black lens bracket 157. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. But as time passed, as the days passed, everything was so normal, even 2 months passed quickly. But everything is normal, except for this abrupt teacher, there is nothing wrong. In the past 2 months, Terumi Mei gradually believed. Because this teacher has been teaching her, instructing her, teaching her a lot of the ability to follow the boundary, teaching her how to use the ability, and making her strength steadily improve. Such detailed skills and application are beyond the reach of others. Only people who have studied the boundaries of blood for many years, who have been with her often, and who understand her situation, can teach her this way. But if it wasn't for someone with a good relationship, no one would be keen to help her, and no one would teach her selflessly. Only a real teacher would do this to her. Therefore, when another 2 months passed, she finally believed and admitted the teacher in her heart, but she was too embarrassed to say it. Another few months have passed. Terumi Mei was thoroughly familiar with the teacher, learned everything the teacher taught, and trusted Hazuki's words more and more. She followed Hazuki to 29 places to practice, to the outside of the village, to the plains, to the forest, to the desert, to many different environments, and to learn different combat skills and applications. During this constant practice, Terumi Mei's strength has grown terribly. Even unknowingly, she has reached the level of cage level, even she herself did not expect it, and the person who caused all this is the teacher who always wears a mask. She once asked the teacher this question and wanted to see the teacher's face, but was rejected, which made her very depressed, but she was also very happy to have such a teacher to teach her. This day. Advertisement. With a smile on her face, Terumi Mei quickly ran to Hazuki and said softly, "I succeeded, the method you said is really good, I really gathered 100 healings mark." After Terumi Mei finished speaking, she pushed back her long hair to reveal her fair forehead, and in the center of her forehead, a diamond-shaped mark was completely formed. This was the first time she took the initiative to let others look at her forehead, except for those close to her. She would not take the initiative to look at her, and today she finally opened her heart. "Thank you, teacher. Although I have lost all my memories of you, I have seen all your actions and sacrifices in the past few months. From now on, you will be my teacher, my forever teacher." 1. Terumi Mei said gratefully. Her big eyes flickered and her long eyelashes fluttered like beautiful butterflies flying up and down. But, when she said this sentence with a smile, she didn't get an answer. In doubt, she raised her little head and looked at Hazuki, at the dark blindfold, at the slender figure standing in front of her in the breeze. Click. Like the sound of glass breaking, the picture in front of me suddenly cracked, like a crack in the glass. Click. Click. The cracks gradually increased, densely packed, spreading around like a spider web, linking the scene in front of them and spreading to the whole world. Terumi Mei looked at such a world, and the teacher's figure was broken. She was stunned, her eyes widened unimaginably. Crack. Boom. The sound of glass shattering echoed, the whole world was completely shattered and dissipated, and the scene in front of him was changing rapidly, completely turning into the scene of the previous number 5 training ground. Terumi Mei stood there dumbfounded. She still held the kunai in her small hands. It was the kunai that was about to be thrown, but looking at the familiar number 5 training ground, she was silent. She had already recognized that this was the number 5 training ground, knew that she had entered some kind of fantasy, and thoroughly understood everything. Advertisement. Teacher. Is this an illusion? Is everything we've experienced a fake? Terumi Mei said in a low voice, looking a little trembling. The long time together, the selfless teaching, and the deception in front of her made her not know how to express her thoughts. "I'm sorry, I just wanted to accept you as a disciple, but I didn't expect such a result." Hazuki shook his head and said an apology for the first time. Although all those are illusions, all the experiences are stored in memory, and the teaching, training and getting along with ninjutsu are real. Hazuki was originally just for missions, but now, he really means Terumi Mei as a disciple. With a sigh, Hazuki placed a scroll on Terumi Mei's palm while leaving a mark on her palm. "Don't use the content in the scroll indiscriminately, study hard, and we will meet in the future." After Hazuki finished speaking, he disappeared in a circle of water ripples, leaving only Terumi Mei standing in the training ground. She stood blankly, looking at the scroll in her hand and the mysterious mark in complete silence, then opened the scroll to examine it carefully. After a long time, Terumi Mei was holding the light scroll, and her heart was extremely heavy. The knowledge in the scroll was very important, and the important thing could make the world crazy. A deep sigh came out of her mouth and dissipated in the warm air. For some reason, she felt that the weather was extraordinarily warm today. The corners of Terumi Mei's lips curled into a beautiful arc. She put away the scroll, took brisk steps, and turned towards the intelligence department. She has to investigate carefully to see who in the ninja world likes to wear blindfolds, and who has such a unique temperament. She believes that such a person is by no means unknown and can definitely be found. "You can't run, I'll find you, teacher." Advertisement. After a few minutes, Terumi Mei came to the intelligence department and found a friend of the intelligence department. Yuling, help me find someone. Terumi Mei said, pulling a tall girl. Check people. Who? Yuling didn't speak much, she seemed a little cold, and the single ponytail swayed slightly as she spoke. 567 inches. He is a handsome guy with white hair, slender body, fair complexion, wearing a black eye patch for the second time. He has a unique temperament, a bit cold and cool. Terumi Mei hurriedly said about Hazuki's characteristics, but she found that besides these, she didn't even know the teacher's name. Now she was a little frustrated and regretted that she should have asked the teacher's name forcefully. However, just when she was depressed, when she was disappointed and regretted, the friend on the other side shook her head helplessly. I didn't expect you to like him too, and he is indeed the most attractive person in the ninja world. Yuling sighed. Huh, what do you mean? Do you know who it is? Terumi Mei was surprised, her round eyes widened. Don't pretend, just like it if you like it. It's not a shame. Many people have asked him for information before. Yuling smiled. I really don't know who you are talking about, please tell me what's going on. Terumi Mei said hurriedly. Seeing Terumi Mei's eagerness, Yuling believed her words and said mysteriously. You know, the person you asked is very unusual, a very mysterious person. Then what? Say it now. Terumi Mei urged quickly. Listen to me, this person's name is Hyuga Hazuki, who was originally just an ordinary branch house of the Hyuga family, but he is more mysterious than the surface, and we have investigated a lot of magical things about him. Open black lens bracket 158 close black lens bracket circle. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. For example, the healing talisman he developed has become a weapon on the battlefield, making the major villages jealous, and it is also one of the important reasons for suppressing the entire ninja world without turmoil. Yuling explained with admiration on her face, with a hint of light in her eyes. Healing talisman. I heard that it was developed by him, so the safety of the ninja world also has his share of credit. Terumi Mei said in surprise. Of course, this is just a flashpoint. He still has many bright spots that are very mysterious. Even the major shinobi villages have listed him as a key target and called him Master Hazuki. Yuling continued to explain, which attracted more and more interest from Terumi Mei. Master Hazuki's enchantment is also very scary. Even the veteran ninja in Konoha village wanted to take him as a teacher, but he refused. Rejected. Why? Terumi Mei wondered. This Master Hazuki came to Kurigakure in person and accepted her as a disciple, and it stands to reason that he would not refuse to accept a disciple. Because those people are not qualified, Master Hazuki is very arrogant and demanding. Even if Konoha's Hokage pleads for mercy, it will have no effect. Yuling said solemnly. As that's so, will Master Hazuki travel thousands of miles to find someone else to be a disciple? Terumi Mei asked tentatively. Impossible. Do you know how many people want to be his disciples? So far, no one has ever become his disciples, and the rejection rate is 100%. Yuling continued to explain righteously, her little face tense and serious. This. Terumi Mei was a little cute, and the mood that was originally deceived and depressed was instantly restored under these words, and even became high-pitched. Really 100% rejection. Terumi Mei couldn't help but ask again. Of course, the Kingdom of Thunder and Konoha are allies, and they sent a genius to ask Hazuki as a teacher, but he was directly rejected, and even Master Hazuki kicked the door of Hokage's office and didn't give anyone any face. He was very domineering. Yuling explained excitedly. So smart. Terumi Mei fell into a cute state again, but her heart was more and more secretly happy. This teacher Hazuki, who never accepts disciples and looks down on anyone, actually came to Kurigakure to accept her as a disciple. This kind of treatment is simply a world of difference. The secret joy continued to grow in his heart. Terumi Mei excitedly said again, what else did Master Hazuki do? Tell me about it. There are too many deeds: defeating a genius to become the strongest Chunin, raising captive mountain pepper fish to deter countless spies, and being awarded the title of Jonin by Hokage himself, which can be said to be quite powerful. It turned out to be like this kind of treatment. Wait, his strength should be more than Jonin. Terumi Mei thought of the unknown fantasy and objected. It must be more than that. After analysis, The major villages agreed that he has reached the level of elite Jonin, but he is more inclined to assist. Yuling continued to explain. Advertisement. Aid. Terumi Mei didn't believe it. Guessing that this Hazuki teacher had hidden strength, she took a deep breath and said, "Give me a copy of his detailed information." 1. Okay. Anyway, I have a lot of information about him. Yuling quickly took out a stack of documents and took a copy of it and handed it to Terumi Mei. Why did you get so many documents? They are all duplicate documents of Master Hazuki. Terumi Mei looked at the other documents and asked in confusion. Of course it's selling money. There are many admirers of him in the village, and there are quite a few people who come to him for information. Yuling smiled, like a small profiteer. Okay, you can really make money. Where? The two chatted together for a while. Terumi Mei said goodbye and left. When she got home, she couldn't wait to check Hazuki's profile. The profiles are very detailed and record a lot of information, including Hazuki's thorny performance at school as a child. What an amazing experience, defeated so many opponents. Was it so thorny when I was a child? It's so cute. Terumi Mei looked at the information and whispered softly. This series of detailed deeds made her show a beautiful smile, but also more fortunate. It's a pity that she is very helpless about Hazuki's departure, and she can't figure out how to be accepted as a disciple. She plans to ask Hazuki when she sees him next time. In Konoha. I'll find you, but Konoha doesn't like people going in casually. What should I do? Terumi Mei tilted her head for a while, and suddenly her eyes lit up. If you want to get out of Konoha freely, you need to have tyrannical strength and identity. If I become Mizukage, no one will stop me, then. Terumi Mei's big eyes turned into crescent moons. Teacher, will you be taken aback when you find out that I become Mizukage? Konoha Village, the residence of the Hyuga family, the home of the head of the family. Several high-ranking Hyuga clan executives sat together in the conference room and talked with each other. The caged bird of the branch house was hacked by Hazuki. How did this kid do it? I don't know. Countless people tried to crack caged bird and failed. I didn't expect it to be cracked by a branch house. This kid is really not easy. 1 inch. This has to be dealt with, otherwise there is a risk of losing the eyeballs, and if someone else knows how to crack the caged bird, we'll be in big trouble. Yes, this must be resolved as soon as possible. A group of people spoke with solemn expressions, and from time to time they glanced at Patriarch Hyuga from the corner of their eyes. Advertisement. It's just that the Patriarch remained silent and frowned. After a few minutes, he finally raised his head. Okay, stop. The Patriarch waved his hand to signal everyone to stop. This matter is very difficult to handle. Kushina has a super strong behind. Hazuki and Kushina are husband and wife. If you provoke Hazuki, you should know how serious the consequences will be. Patriarch Hyuga said with a sigh. His face was wrinkled as he was old. The rest of the high-level executives didn't know what to say. The super powerhouse was like a mountain, so they didn't know how to face it. The entire conference room was silenced because of this, and no one spoke, all silently searching for a solution. But, no matter how they think, in the face of absolute strength, they are powerless. Caged bird is a very important matter and must be resolved. I'll take care of it myself. Chief Hyuga suddenly stood up and said. Where are you going? How do you plan to solve the problem, Patriarch? Someone asked. Hazuki is also from the Hyuga clan, and angering him will not affect the entire clan, but only the individual, so I will solve this problem in my own name, and I will take care of it alone. Patriarch Hyuga spoke in a low voice, with a hint of determination in his eyes. But. Everyone knows how serious the result of the trip is. If it is not good, it may anger the super strong and be killed. But caged bird's problem must be resolved, they can only support behind the scenes. Patriarch, you proposed Hyuga Hiyashi to take over as Patriarch. I originally refused, but today I want to say, I support you 100%. Yes, I support you too. The next chief is definitely Hyuga Hiyashi. I also support it, and whoever dares to oppose it, I will be the first to refuse. A group of Hyuga executives shouted loudly, but there was a hint of sadness in their voices. Because next day, the old patriarch will go to Hazuki's residence and become the first person in the ninja world to test Hazuki. He probably suffered the most terrifying blow, died on the spot. Thinking of the old patriarch's contribution to the clan, and thinking that the old patriarch is about to die generously, all the people are excited, and the sad atmosphere becomes more and more heavy. Okay, I'm leaving. Patriarch Hyuga didn't say much, but quickly got up and walked out, towards the quiet courtyard where Hazuki was. Advertisement. The rest of the high-level leaders also followed, looking up at the departing patriarch. Their hearts were very heavy. Let's go and see the patriarch. Okay. Let's go together. Walk. Everyone followed for a distance like a guardian, and when they came to Hazuki's house, they chose Yuanwang in order not to disturb the patriarch. Subsequently, they looked at Chief Hyuga, walked over with firm steps, and circled the perimeter of Hazuki's small courtyard. This careful exploration of the scene's circles shows the prudence of Chief Hyuga as a ninja. As expected of the patriarch, Li Wangchao can be so cautious under any circumstances. Yes, this is an aspect that we must learn, and the people in the clan will also need to teach a lot in the future. That's not it. Look, the patriarch has circled around again. The senior officials of Hyuga watched silently, sighing the prudence and caution of the patriarch. Why did the patriarch go around again? It's been 3 times. It's probably still investigating. Maybe. Another lap. Hyuga's executives have already lost their minds, and there are too many circles. Doubt arose in everyone's heart, and they watched as the Hyuga patriarch circled several times. What's the situation? Why does the patriarch just go around in circles instead of knocking on the door? I don't know. Is the patriarch afraid? No. He is the patriarch who has experienced many battles. 2. Everyone was at a loss and couldn't figure out what was going on. They could only choose to watch from a distance. Under their watchful eyes, the Hyuga patriarch kept circling, 10 laps, 15 laps, 20 laps, and 30 laps, and finally someone couldn't help but run over. Patriarch, what's the matter with you, patriarch? A Hyuga executive grabbed the Hyuga clan leader, and after seeing the Hyuga clan leader's face, he froze in place. Open black lens bracket 159 close black lens bracket rage. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. What happened? The high-level Hyuga in the distance was full of doubts, and ran over for unknown reasons. They were equally stunned when they saw the expression on the head of the Hyuga clan. Because Patriarch Hyuga's face is full of madness, but his body is still moving mechanically, forming a contradictory picture. However, his eyes reflected a different picture from reality, which was the picture of the entire Hyuga clan being slaughtered. No, the Patriarch is in the illusion. When? Help him solve it. What kind of illusion is this? It can form such a picture in the eyes. What is the method? I know what's going on. It's that the enchantment is mixed with illusion. You see the enchantment mark over there. Quickly pull the Patriarch out. The second elder in the high level of Hyuga hurriedly opened his mouth to remind, and quickly pulled the Hyuga Patriarch out. Also at this moment, with a crazy expression on his face, Chief Hyuga finally escaped from the illusion. Hoo-hoo. The sound of violent breathing came from the mouth of the Hyuga Patriarch. He looked at the quiet courtyard in awe. His entire face was extremely serious. The Patriarch is all right. You have been caught in the illusion in the enchantment. This Hyuga Hazuki is so powerful that he even added illusion in the enchantment. The second elder said. I see. I didn't expect that I would fail before I even got to the door. Patriarch 567 Hyuga looked complicated. He thought about the consequences of looking for Hazuki in many ways, but he never thought that he couldn't even get in the door. Such a blow is not a big deal. Patriarch, this is a good thing. You can see from your test just now that the super strong has no intention of taking action, and we actually have a greater harvest. Yes, Patriarch, we are afraid of the super strong, not this Hazuki. If the super strong does not attack, we have many ways to get in. I can solve this illusion. As long as the super strong man does not attack, I can seal the enchantment mark, and then accompany you to go there. 1. Advertisement. Several Hyuga executives spoke, with a faint joy in their eyes. As long as the super powerful man doesn't make a move, they will definitely have a way to deal with Hazuki and solve the problem of caged bird. Certainly. They won't go blindly, but after some deliberation, they start to act cautiously. The two elders first sealed the 5 enchantment marks, and then the Hyuga patriarch continued to test. Because the closer you get to Hazuki's courtyard, the more likely it is to draw out that super powerful person, and someone needs to approach and test a little bit. And this heavy burden, the Hyuga patriarch took it without hesitation, and resolutely stepped closer to Hazuki's small courtyard. Second elder, the enchantment mark is sealed, can the illusion disappear? Someone worried. Don't worry, Hyuga Hazuki's barrier is so powerful that even the clan leader can be attacked, but as long as he finds a way to solve it. And my sealing technique is also very strong, as long as I use the correct method to seal the enchantment mark, it can be cracked, after all, it is just a dead thing. The second elder spoke confidently, not worrying about this issue at all. That's fine, that's fine. After hearing this, everyone felt relieved, and then watched the Hyuga clan leader go forward. This time it went very smoothly, and the Hyuga patriarch did not go around in circles again, but easily came to the door of the Hazuki courtyard. See, this is my sealing technique, although Hyuga Hazuki's enchantment is very powerful, but we old people are not bad, ha ha ha. The second elder laughed, his wrinkled old face turned into a chrysanthemum. As expected of the second elder, he actually cracked Hazuki's enchantment, which is his specialty. 1. The second elder is amazing, and the super powerhouse has not appeared, so it seems that Hazuki is not so important. Let's go too, the patriarch waved to us. Seeing Patriarch Hyuga beckoning, everyone took a deep breath and quickly walked towards Patriarch. Advertisement. But, after walking a few steps, they felt that something was wrong, because the Patriarch's gesture of beckoning was very mechanical, like a puppet being manipulated. Seeing this scene, the second elder was shocked. He looked around abruptly, and only then did he realize that all his companions had disappeared, leaving only the Patriarch who beckoned from a distance. Damn, what's going on? Isn't the illusion broken? CJDH, leave first, now the most important thing is to figure out what's going on. 1. The second elder was very decisive, and rushed out all the way for the first time, running towards the distance. Hazuki's quiet courtyard, warm and comfortable living room. Elegant and graceful, Makoto is sitting on the sofa, with small hands softly touching Hazuki's short hair, caressing it gently and carefully. And her Mizuki retreated, and Hazuki was lying there, leaning lazily in her arms, enjoying her caress. Husband, have you kept them going? Makoto asked, looking at the illusory picture in the air. In the picture in the air, the Hyuga clan leader, the second elder, and all the Hyuga high-level leaders walked in unison as if obsessed. Without the slightest resistance, without the slightest words, they walked mechanically at the same pace, walking around the courtyard with their eyes blank. 1 round, 2 rounds, 10 rounds. After dozens of laps in a row, they were still walking, as if there was no end. In such a scene, Makoto frowned a little, because these people have been gone for a long time, and it seems that they have the meaning of going forever. Don't worry, they will leave later and go where they least want to go. Hazuki didn't look up, but continued to cuddle in Makoto's arms, squinting and dozing off. The place you don't want to go. Where? Makoto said with a little doubt. Nothing is a bad place. Hazuki didn't want to say more, the place to punish these people was not a good place, so he refused to answer. Advertisement. Although Makoto didn't know where she was obedient and didn't ask. She would never refuse Hazuki's words, even if it was excessive, she would obey. Makoto. Hazuki spoke suddenly. What's wrong, husband? Makoto blinked and looked down at Hazuki. I have something to tell you, turn your ear to me. 2 days later. The information departments of the major shinobi villages added another message to the information about Hazuki, a message that made everyone look weird. Boom. The teacup was thrown to the ground with a thud. Patriarch Hyuga was so angry that he threw everything to the ground, and the roar echoed through the room with the sound of things being thrown. Father, don't be angry, there is no way to get angry again, you shouldn't provoke him. Hyuga Hiyashi comforted. Then he can't do this to us, do you know how miserable we are, and now we have become the laughing stock of the entire ninja world. Chief Hyuga roared. There's no way, everything has been done, we can only wait for the storm to pass. Hyuga Hiyashi sighed, holding his breath as much as possible. In the past, I've lost my face, and I'm so pissed off. Father, calm down. How do I get rid of my breath? I've been soaking in the shithole for a long time, how can I get rid of my breath? The key is the women's toilet. Patriarch Hyuga growled, his eyes red with blood. This. Open black lens bracket 160 close black lens bracket creation. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Not to mention the deeds of the Hyuga clan's family, his eyes returned to Hazuki's side. At this moment Hazuki is standing in the small courtyard, watching Kushina slowly feeding the huge Sancho fish. Perhaps because of the long-term captivity, or the fact that he ate too much medicine, the chubby mountain pepper fish has become fat and almost turned into a pig, and its size has grown several circles. And its appetite is very strong, and it is not too full to eat, and it is always hungry. Husband, this Sanjiao fish is too fat and its size is too large, should we take it out for a walk? After feeding the Sancho fish, Kushina looked at its chubby body and offered advice helplessly. It's really fat, do you want to throw it into the small world? Just in the small world, I have cultivated a few Sancho fish similar to it, and let them multiply. Hazuki tilted his head and said. Wow. When Sanjiao heard this, he hurriedly shouted. It doesn't want to leave here, otherwise it won't be able to eat the mysterious potion again, so it shakes its big head and starts to act cute. That big fat head swayed from left to right to Yao Yao, and it actually felt a little stupid, which made Kushina laugh. She patted the Sanjiao's head and turned to look at Hazuki. Husband, let's keep it, it's fun to bring it around. Okay. If you like it then stay, if you don't like it then throw it in the small world. Hazuki doesn't care, as long as he wants to, he can cultivate many, many other summoning beasts. Previously, he went to the land of thunder and found a lot of giant creatures for research and breeding on the huge turtle back in captivity, and produced a large number of summoning beasts. Although it casts a big shadow on the remaining creatures, Hazuki's small world has become more and more lively. All kinds of birds and beasts, all kinds of creatures, and living human beings have vaguely formed a small ecological circle. And what makes Hazuki even more delighted is that many times the ninja world searched for creatures, filled various existences many times, the small world was getting bigger and bigger, and the ocean area was very vast. The landforms have also changed a lot, and various landforms have been formed successively, such as mountains, plains, canyons, grasslands, hills, deserts and so on. It can be said that the small world is becoming more and more diverse and more like the real world. Especially during this period, the small world has a tendency to develop towards the planet, which surprised Hazuki. Another point is that there is also natural energy in the small world, which is the same natural energy as the ninja world. Various powers, including chakra, can be formed in the small world as long as they exist in the ninja world. Such changes gave Hazuki more ideas, and he began to methodically lay out, place and arrange people to teach humans in the small world. Advertisement. Certainly. At this stage, there are still few people in the small world, even if his layout is only a small fight, it is temporarily impossible to form the size of the number of people in the ninja world. Let's develop slowly. The population of the small world without war will increase rapidly, and sooner or later it will become a world no less than the world of ninjas. Hazuki said, frowning quickly. Consciousness also came to the small world. Under his consciousness, the people in the small world are fighting with a gorilla, and are at an absolute disadvantage. There have been similar incidents before, all of which were ordinary creatures attacking humans, but this process also trained human combat power, and Hazuki didn't bother to pay attention. But this time is a little different, because this gorilla is the product of his accidental research, based on Nine Tails chakra and a gorilla condensed monster. The intelligence of this monster is temporarily not at the level of an adult, but it has the level of a 5-year-old child. It is very tyrannical and likes to attack and destroy. When this gorilla first appeared, even he dared to attack. The result can be imagined. The gorilla did not stand up for half a year because of a snap of his fingers. Since then, the gorilla has been completely honest, and he never dared to make trouble again. Unexpectedly, after throwing it into the small world, this guy started to go crazy again, and even caused human beings to be affected. Forget it. Deal with it. Hazuki turned his head and looked to the side, looking at his young and beautiful wife Kushina. Kushina, are you going to a small world? Okay. Kushina's eyes lit up when he heard this, and quickly jumped into Hazuki's arms, hanging on him, happy like a child. Why are you still like a child? Hazuki hugged Kushina's slender waist lightly, feeling her tight skin, and gently kissed her side face. I like being in your arms, and besides, you are my husband, what's the point of hugging your husband? Kushina was kissed and visibly happier, she simply put her small head on Hazuki's shoulder, enjoying his embrace. Okay, as long as you like it. Helpless, Hazuki patted Kushina's back with a big hand, hugged her soft body, and disappeared in a circle of water ripples. When they appeared again, they had already come to the sky above the small world. Ding. The plot is affected slowly, please pay attention. Close black lens bracket. The mechanical voice sounded in his mind, but Hazuki didn't care, because every time he brought Kushina or Makoto to the small world, there would be such a reminder. The prompt at the beginning was to strongly influence the plot, but after he brought them to the small world many times, it has become a slow influence. Advertisement. This change made Hazuki understand something, but he was not sure, so he still made preparations from the outside world. In order to complete the system tasks as soon as possible, get the Saitama template and the tornado template. Husband, the gorilla you created is attacking humans, it's Hitaki Tsukumo and his team. Kushina pointed to the valley below. Well, it's grown quite a bit. Hazuki nodded, looking down at the valley. I saw in the valley, an orangutan as large as 9 tails roared wildly, roaring furiously with the muscles beating its heart. That huge body, that fist that smashed the ground, that terrifying speed, that super strong defense, was as difficult to deal with as 9 tails. And the person who fights it is Hitaki Tsukumo, who was brought to the small world by Hazuki, that is, Kakashi's father, Konoha's White Fangya, who committed suicide. It's just that their current situation is very bad. The 10 people faced this gorilla, and they were beaten and retreated. Even with Hitaki Tsukumo, they were still at an absolute disadvantage. Damn, it's too strong, super fast speed, super strength, super defense, and terrifying injury recovery speed, it can't be played at all. Yes, Captain Tsukumo risked his death twice, injuring the gorilla, but he recovered in an instant, and there was no way to stop it. The key is one blow, as long as we are hit, we will surely die. Several ninjas quickly retreated with ugly expressions, and at the same time used their means to attack the gorilla. It's a pity that their attack didn't have the slightest effect, but instead caused their chakra to drop. Boom. The soil was flying, the stones were shooting wildly, and the huge gorilla crashed down like a giant hammer, smashing a large area of land. And Hitaki Tsukumo, who fought against it, avoided the past dangerously and dangerously. Woohoo! What a strong gorilla. This guy seems to have low intelligence, but his size and fighting power are simply unimaginable. Hitaki Tsukumo said with a breath, his face was cut with stones and blood flowed out, but he ignored it and stared at the gorilla with a solemn expression. What should I do? Its recovery speed is too fast, and along with the battle, it actually learns combat skills, which is too difficult. Hitaki Tsukumo felt that things were a little difficult, and the longer it dragged on, the worse it would be for them, and he might even die here. Roar. The violent roar echoed again, and the gorilla suddenly became stronger at this moment. Damn, it's even stronger. We're in big trouble. Advertisement. Hitaki Tsukumo was shocked. The gorilla, who was already extremely difficult to deal with, was actually transformed into a lot stronger. Now they have no chance of winning. It's over. Despair rose in the hearts of the surrounding ninjas, and they even thought of the next fate and the next tragedy. But at this time, just when they desperately faced death, the gorilla, who was roaring furiously, suddenly stopped roaring, and then looked up to the sky. In the next second, its pupils shrank to a point. Then, under everyone's disbelief, the gorilla squatted down quickly, pinched the earlobes with both hands, and curled up motionless, like a child who made a mistake and was punished. Such a scene made everyone dumbfounded, and people's heads were a little confused, and then they hurriedly looked at the sky. It's Hazuki-sama, that's great. I said why the gorilla wilted, it turns out that Lord Hazuki is back, ha ha ha. With Lord Hazuki here, let alone one gorilla, even 100 gorillas will be fine. Surprise rose in everyone's heart, and everyone including Hitaki Tsukumo looked surprised. Because this Hazuki-sama is the one who rescued them here. Although they don't know where this is in the ninja world, they have heard of Hazuki's strength, and some have even seen it, so they admire Hazuki very much. It's just that they didn't know that the Lord Hazuki they met before was just a shadow clone, and the current Hazuki is the real body. Above the sky, Hazuki embraced Kushina and looked down at the ninjas and gorillas below, frowning slowly because the sound of the system suddenly sounded. Ding! You created a new gorilla race, triggering a new god-level choice. Close black lens bracket. Ding! Please choose 1. Unlimited creation of races. Each created race will be rewarded with different numbers of gift packs according to the strength. 2. Unlimited destruction of races. Each destroying a race will be rewarded with different numbers of destruction packages according to the strength. 3. Unlimited collection of races. For each race collected, different numbers of gift packs will be rewarded according to the strength. Tip: this option task is a permanent task, please choose it carefully. Open black lens bracket 161 close black lens bracket reward. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Looking at the god level choice that suddenly appeared, Hazuki frowned secretly. The mission this time was different from the past. The previous missions were all one-offs, but this time it turned out to be permanent. And looking at the prompts of the system, he can continue to complete the task and continuously get rewards. Such a task is unique. For the sake of prudence, Hazuki chose to postpone it temporarily and wait until he has considered it before making a decision. Anyway, this god-level choice will not disappear, and he can choose at any time. It's just that the appearance of this task made him not in the mood to stay in the small world. Originally, he planned to chat with Hitaki Tsukumo and issue a series of instructions. But now I have no mood at all. Forget it. Go back. Hazuki shook his head, and under Kushina's suspicious eyes, they returned to the ninja world together and returned to the living room at home. Husband, what's wrong with you? Kushina asked with wide eyes, wondering what happened to Hazuki. In the past, when they went to the small world, they would play in the small world for a while, even if it was only 10 minutes, they would have a good time to relax. But this time they came back after a short stay, and Hazuki's expression was noticeably more serious. Such an expression was very rare for her, so she also became nervous. Her two small white and tender hands clasped Hazuki's big hand tightly and looked at him with worried eyes. What's wrong? Makoto was sewing clothes in the house and rushed out after hearing the sound. After seeing Hazuki's expression, he also took Hazuki's other big hand without hesitation. Husband, is there something wrong? May 570. Chin asked softly, the concern on her small face could not be concealed. It's all right, it's just an idea that needs to be thought through. Hazuki said, holding his two warm wives. What are your thoughts? Can you talk to us? Makoto said softly, placing Hazuki's big hand on his cheek, feeling each other's warmth silently. Okay, do you like to create, or to destroy, or to collect? Hazuki thought for a while and said, create, destroy, collect. Makoto and Kushina wonder, it's a strange question, but they take Hazuki's question seriously, so they start to ponder. I think it's good to create. It's a lot of fun to create something that has never been done before, Makoto suggested with a gentle smile. Collecting is also good, collecting all kinds of treasures, has more fun, and is easier than creating. With Kushina's slender index finger, she pointed her fair and delicate chin to put forward her own thoughts. Create and collect. Hazuki murmured, his eyes glowing red and blue under the jet-black goggles. When he saw this mission, his first thought was to destroy, but he stopped this dangerous thought in time. Moreover, this choice is also unrealistic. If he destroys the ninja world, he will no longer be able to obtain rewards. The most suitable thing in the long run is to create. If it is to collect, even if the entire ninja world is collected, it will not take long. But if it is creation, it can be created without limit, but creation is relatively more difficult. Should we choose to create? Advertisement. Hazuki whispered, mixing the little heads of the two wives, silently thinking about whether to choose this option. Husband, you can ask other people, there are so many people in the village, maybe they can bring inspiration. Makoto suggested with a smile. Well, that's a good idea. 1 inch. Hazuki felt justified that a person's mind is indeed prone to depletion, and it is easier to trigger inspiration in communication. So Hazuki decided to go out and see what everyone thought. Do it when you think of it. Hazuki kissed Makoto's forehead as a reward, but he shook his head helplessly as he looked at Kushina, who blinked. Forget it, I'll give you one too. Hazuki said, preparing to give Kushina a kiss. But he didn't move, but was kissed quickly by Kushina, and then she quickly ran back to her house with her little feet. Hazuki modeled his face sideways, feeling the residual warmth, and the corners of his lips curled into a smile. Makoto is waiting for me at home, I'll go out for a while. Go. Come back early, dinner is your favorite food. After Makoto finished speaking, his fair and slender hands helped Hazuki sort out his clothes, and when there were no creases in the slightest, he waved to Hazuki. I must be back before dinner. After the words fell, Hazuki disappeared in a circle of water ripples. The clearing above Hokage Rock. Uchiha Obito, Nohara Rin, and Kakashi were sitting and chatting together, but their expressions were a little weird. That Nohara Rin even covered her mouth and snickered, her big eyes looking in the direction of the Hyuga clan from time to time. Teacher Hazuki really can't be provoked, even the head of Hyuga has suffered. If it were me, I would never dare to go out in my life. Obito said with a strange expression. That's not it, who can bear that kind of punishment? Kakashi, who had a cold face, was a little bit dumbfounded at the moment, and swore secretly that he would not provoke this teacher. The three were chatting together, but at this time Kakashi suddenly stood up and looked back. What's wrong with you, Kakashi? Uchiha Obito looked at Kakashi's appearance, he slowly turned his head, and then his expression changed slightly. Hazuki-sensei. Uchiha Obito and Kakashi hurriedly bowed, looking very serious. Nohara Lin was not so serious, she even ran to Hazuki's side and said with a sweet smile, Mr. Hazuki, why are you here? Ask you a question. Create, destroy, or collect, which one do you prefer? Hazuki said straight to the point. Kakashi and the others were a little dazed, but they hurriedly spoke. Creating. I prefer to create. Uchiha Obito was the first to answer. Collect. I like to collect shells, if it were me, I would like to collect. Nohara Rin tilted her head. After the two finished speaking, they looked at Kakashi at the same time, because Kakashi lowered his head slightly and did not answer. Quite a while, Kakashi said in a low voice. Destroy, maybe I will choose to destroy. Destruction. Hazuki whispered. Advertisement. During this period of time, Kakashi was in the darkest period of his life. He thought that his father was dead, so he ignored the life and death of his teammates even if he did the task. But Hazuki didn't know whether to laugh or cry, because Hatake Tsukumo not only lived in a small world, but even married a new wife and had a young son. Hazuki remembered that the kid's name was Hatake Kakadong. Although the name is weird, if Kakashi knew that he had a younger brother, I don't know what his expression would be, and would he make the option of destruction? Shaking his head, Hazuki didn't think too much, but waved goodbye and walked away. Only Kakashi and the others were left in a daze. Outside Konoha village, above a big tree. Angle sits on a tree trunk, checking the bounty in his hands. Hyuga Hazuki. Strength evaluation elite Jonin, good at logistics assistance, lives in the Hyuga family all the year round, and rarely goes out. Close black lens bracket. Seeing this from an angle, he glanced at the bounty price again, and narrowed his eyes slightly. 60 million taels, the price is really good, but unfortunately this kid never goes out, it's very difficult to stay in Konoha all the time. The angle put away the reward and put it in his pocket, and waited silently again. Unfortunately, after only 10 minutes of waiting, he became impatient, because he had been waiting here for 5 days, and he didn't know how long he would have to wait. In order not to waste time, the angle is ready to leave, ready to hunt other targets first. If you are lucky, I will let you go this time. Don't let me know that you left Konoha, or you will burst your heart. After the angle finished speaking, he turned his head and was about to leave, but the moment he turned his head, he stepped back suddenly, his eyes jumping to another big tree with horror. Because I don't know where he was before, there was a person standing, a person wearing a dark mask. Black mask, you are Hyuga Hazuki, damn, why are you here? The angle was shocked, he never thought that Hazuki would be here, the key point was that he didn't know how Hazuki appeared. Create, destroy, and collect, which one do you prefer? The faint voice came, and the angle of the face was inexplicable. Boy, although I don't know how you appeared, but since you died, I will take your life. After the angle finished, he quickly began to seal. As the point of view of having assassinated first Hokage, he has absolute confidence to kill the boy in front of him. Even if the other party has incredible hidden means, he is absolutely sure to win. With strong self-confidence, he shouted from the angle, and was about to perform ninjutsu, but the scene in front of him suddenly changed. I don't know when. They have come to the boundless Wangyang Sea. Here is. The angle was startled, and just as he was about to say something, Hazuki in front of him spoke again. Answer my question or else. Hazuki spoke quietly, bending his slender right index finger, aiming at the boundless Wangyang, and then flicking it gently. Boom. Long. The terrifying roar resounded throughout the world, and the entire sea was divided into two at this moment, completely forming an unimaginable world spectacle. But it didn't end, because an explosion hundreds of times stronger than Tailed Beast Bomb also sounded the next moment. With this explosion, the boundless waves rolled into the sky, forming a seawater canopy that covered the sky and the sun. The terrifying scene, like a natural disaster, made the angle freeze in place. Advertisement. He looked at the divided sea, at the terrifying sea sky, at the rainwater formed by the sea, and Hazuki who stood still in the air. The angle was so frightening that his body was shaking, and he stammered, You. I. Answer my question. The faint voice came again, even more ruthless, from the point of extreme fear. I choose to collect. I like to collect money, countless amounts of money. The angle hurriedly said. The voice was chanting. Collect. Hazuki muttered to himself. A circle of water ripples appeared around him, and he also gradually disappeared in the water ripples. Call. Looking at Hazuki, who was about to disappear, the angle was obviously relieved. He never thought that the target of this reward was so terrifying. It was a disaster. But at this time, the faint voice came again, and the angle instantly became tense. By the way, you came to Konoha to kill me. Hazuki, who was about to leave, suddenly said. No. How come? I just admire you, so I came to see you, really. Angle said in fear. Yes. Hazuki smiled, his right hand raised again, his index finger bent at an angle. No. Spare me, please spare me. The angle was terrified, and the moment he was pointed at by his index finger, he felt that his whole body was in a world of ice and snow, so cold that his soul was trembling. 3.7. By the way, it seems that you can't die, so let's take a look at you. Hazuki withdrew his right hand and gently took off the blindfold, revealing his tightly closed eyes. Look at me. The angle is confused, and I feel that the words of this strong man are so inexplicable. Right. Hazuki opened his mouth faintly, the right eye under the blue light suddenly opened, and the mysterious right eye where Tensagen and Rinnegan merged suddenly looked at the angle. Also at this moment, the invisible repulsion rippling in the inexplicable angle of the eyes. Boom. The scene of natural disaster reappeared, and the whole sea was blown apart by this eye. That scene was hundreds of times more terrifying than the scene when Pain destroyed Konoha village. At such a glance, the angle has disappeared, and if Hazuki hadn't deliberately left him alive, he would have turned into fly ash. Nice repulsion. Hazuki smiled, disappearing in circles of water ripples. And the other side. Dozens of miles away. The angle has been blasted into the boundless Yamanaka, and the whole person is crooked like mud and motionless. 4 of his 5 hearts have disappeared, even his limbs are twisted and deformed, and the whole person is no longer human. Fortunately, Hazuki was merciful and protected him with an unknown force, but even so, he was terrible. After a long delay, the angle finally regained some strength to speak. With a cry of hatred, he said, Don't let me know who issued the bounty, it's too much of a fool. Open black lens bracket 162 close black lens bracket white zetsu black zetsu. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Kakuzu scolded and cursed, but after scolding, he couldn't stand up for a while, and he didn't even have the slightest strength, so he could only continue to wait for recovery. It's really a failure this time, that kid. No, that Hazuki-sama is too strong, I can't provoke him at all, he's stronger than first Hokage. Kakuzu said, recalling the scene in the past when he faced first Hokage. At that time, First Hokage left an indelible impression on him and was always the most powerful existence in his heart. But today, he finally understood what it means to be strong, and that light flick of his index finger actually created a scene like a natural disaster. What made him even more unbelievable was that Hazuki was even more terrifying after taking off the blindfold, and the other party just glanced at him. Then, with his powerful strength, he had been in the ninja world for many years and was severely injured and was dying. If it wasn't for the other party's mercy. If you see him in the future, you can hide away, and you will never be able to come to the country of fire again. Kakuzu murmured, trying to recover from his injury, but after waiting for several minutes, he still didn't recover much strength. And this time, a lone wolf walked tentatively along the cave that was knocked out, looking at him with bloodthirsty eyes. Damn. Seeing this wolf, Kakuzu cursed inwardly. He wanted to kill the other party, but he couldn't even move, so he could only watch the lone wolf helplessly. I won't die in this broken cave this time, eaten by a wolf. I'd rather be killed by Hazuki. Kakuzu would rather be killed by a strong man than be eaten by a wolf. 29 is too embarrassing. Puff. Blood sprayed. The lone wolf fell to the ground and died, and a black and white figure emerged from the ground, looking at Kakuzu with doubts. Who are you? Kakuzu looked solemn, looking at the other side's strange body. You can call me White Zetsu. You can survive the explosion just now, your strength is good. 1. The white Zetsu on the left half spoke, and the black Zetsu on the right half chose to remain silent. Originally, he was investigating the lightsaber incident, but the mountain suddenly exploded. When he rushed over, he happened to see Kakuzu, who was seriously injured in the cave. He doesn't know Kakuzu yet, but he has already planned to recruit companions, so this is why he appeared. Not bad. I might have thought so before, but now. Kakuzu laughed at himself, with a wry smile on his face. Advertisement. What do you mean? Are you fighting just now? Didn't you encounter a detonator trap? White Zetsu asked in confusion. I met a strong man. The strong one is unimaginable, the strong one cannot be estimated. You will never understand how strong he is. Kakuzu explained slowly, fighting for time to recover, in case the unknown person killed him. You mean, I don't understand what a strong man is. White Zetsu sneered. He had never seen anything in this ninja world, except for the lightsaber incident. He had been looking for the reason. This ninja world had no secrets to him. With a hint of sarcasm, White Zetsu continued. Are you talking about who the other party is? How strong? I really want to see it. Stronger than First Hokage. I had assassinated First Hokage. I know his strength very well, but today I learned that someone is stronger. Kakuzu continued to explain, faintly regaining some strength. Assassination of Hokage. Better than First Hokage. White Zetsu continued to sneer. First Hokage's strength was only okay in his eyes, and the real powerhouse was the level of Otsutsuki Kagaya and Sage of Six Paths. Certainly. He wouldn't say such things, so he said with a hint of indifference. Assassinated Hokage. You or Kakuzu. The other party can beat you like this. It is considered a bit of strength, but don't overestimate him. The real powerhouse in the ninja world will never be him. You know me. Kakuzu was surprised. He didn't expect the other party to know him. Of course, your strength is just enough, and you are qualified to be my companion. If you agree to be my companion, I can help you out. White Zetsu said lightly. Help me out. Well, if you can defeat him, I can be your companion. The strong man's name is Hyuga Hazuki, a member of the Hyuga clan. 1. Kakuzu sneered again and again. Since the person in front of him wanted to die, he didn't mind sending the other party a ride. Anyway, he would be safer if the other party left. Hyuga Hazuki. I've heard of him. His detonator is very powerful. It turns out that you were injured by the detonator, but that's trivial to me. White Zetsu was full of self-confidence, and his whole body was like being in water, and he gradually escaped into the ground. Wait for me, come back victorious. White Zetsu went underground and disappeared, leaving only his confident voice. But there was sarcasm in Kakuzu's eyes. He tried to regain some strength, hurriedly used his tentacles to heal his injuries, and then barely stood up. Not daring to stop at all, Kakuzu trembled out of the cave and headed for the distant jungle. That cave is no longer safe. I have to leave as soon as possible. Hazuki's horror. I don't want to see it a second time. Advertisement. While treating the injury, Kakuzu speeded up and left. In just a few minutes, he had already left the mountain and walked all the way. When he got here, he looked back at the majestic mountain and finally heaved a sigh of relief. But at this time, in the direction of the cave of Dashin, there was suddenly a miserable cry, "Kakuzu, you pit me." Boom! The roar of the sky resounded through the sky, as if to tear apart the world. The whole earth could not bear the roar. Shaking violently, the endless wind raged, blowing everything in all directions violently. A large number of trees and vegetation were uprooted in the strong wind, flew into the sky and then fell. And the majestic mountain, with this loud noise, completely disappeared, and even formed a bottomless endless pit. On this side, in the sky, a figure wearing a jet black mask stood silently, leaning down and cutting like a gentleman. He was slender and fair-skinned, and his appearance looked like a handsome young man. Even if a dark mask blocked him, he couldn't hide his brilliance. Especially his temperament. Anyone who only needs to see him once will never forget him, nor will he forget this figure named Hazuki. Especially at this moment. The posture of standing in the void and looking down at everything, looking down at the common people, is really like a god high above. In such a scene, Kakuzu's complexion changed with fright, and the whole person was shaking. I knew, fortunately I ran fast, this white Zetsu is finished, ha ha ha. Kakuzu smiled secretly, hid in the big tree and continued to observe, full of schadenfreude in his heart. But right now, Kakuzu suddenly noticed that Hazuki, who was looking down on everything that day, bent his fingers towards him. No. Kakuzu was so frightened that he hurried to the direction of Hazuki to beg for mercy, but he did not dare to run away, because running away would only hasten his death. He has only one way now, and that is to beg for mercy. So at this moment, he ran twice as fast, as if his injuries were all healed. He tried his best to run over to beg for mercy. Lord Hazuki, Kakuzu stammered. Under the unknown pressure, he couldn't even speak. Wait here. An indifferent voice fell from the sky, and Kakuzu was relieved to hear this, because the other party put his hand down. Advertisement. I finally got my life back. Kakuzu slumped on the ground feebly, looking at white Zetsu in front of him with pity. The edge of the deep pit with thick smoke has been in the ninja world for many years, and all the black hands behind it all fell to the ground like a dead dog, dazed and motionless like a fool. The proud mayfly technique was invalid at this moment, and he could no longer move a single cent. Why this 570? Who are you? Black Zetsu said hoarsely, his eyes full of disbelief. He had always thought that Otsutsuki Kagaya was the strongest, but finally found that this world was different from what he imagined, and such a terrifying existence appeared. With disbelief and shock, Black Zetsu carefully observed each other's hair and skin, as well as the ability to float, and there was a faint guess in his heart. Are you a member of the Otsutsuki clan? Yes, only the Otsutsuki clan can possess such strength. Above the sky, Hazuki listened to Black Zetsu's words, his eyes flashed a few times, and then said indifferently, "You can think so." Sure enough, Black Zetsu became more and more certain, trying to control himself and wanting to leave, but unfortunately all failed. Useless struggle. Hazuki spoke indifferently and slowly descended from the sky. But if you want to rescue Otsutsuki Kagaya, I can help. Hazuki said suddenly. What did you say? Black Zetsu was startled and looked at Hazuki in disbelief. He never thought that all his plans would be exposed and known to those in front of him. However, the other party said that he could help, but it made him energetic. Will you help me? Yes, you can continue your plan. I will take action if necessary, and Kakuzu over there will be your first companion. After Hazuki finished speaking, a circle of water ripples appeared behind him, and then disappeared into the ripples within the ripples. In situ, leaving only Black Zetsu and Kakuzu staring, their hearts were shocked and at the same time they felt inexplicable. The other side, Hazuki landed on a nearby mountain, thinking about whether it would work for him. Ding! The plot has been slightly corrected. You have corrected it to 69.9% before, and now it has officially reached 70%. Come on, master. Ding. Congratulations to the owner for getting the basic reward. 5% Saitama template plus 10% tornado template. Closing square bracket dot. Open black lens bracket 163 close black lens bracket no reason. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The sound of the mechanical system sounded in his mind, and it was still so unwavering, but when Hazuki heard the sound, the corners of his lips twitched into a smile. In fact, he has already estimated the difficulty of this task. The task limit is about 75%, and it is basically impossible to continue to improve in the future. But it doesn't matter. This basic reward is enough, because after reaching this level, Hazuki can speed up other tasks. For example, the task of training 100 cage level disciples, he has not used potions very much in this task, because he is worried about impacting the plot, but now it is different. After getting the basic reward, he no longer has any scruples, and can completely let go of the supply of the disciples to use the medicine, and cultivate 100 cage level disciples as soon as possible. At that time, the task can be completed quickly, and the Saitama template will be obtained. Finally, you can let go of using potions, then shadow clone, you can act, and there is another task of talent, so let's speed up. Hazuki murmured, and through the space passage, gave an order to complete the mission as soon as possible. Ding! Congratulations on your tornado template reaching 100%, you can open this template without any restrictions. Close black lens bracket. Ding! Hyuga Hazuki. The Otsutsuki clan. Templates. Tornado template 100%, 56% Saitama template. Blood followers. Rinne Sharingan, right eye, 9 Tomo Rinnegan, left. A warm current like a hot spring was flowing all over his body. At this moment, Hazuki obviously gained something, and his whole body was exuding an inexplicable aura. It was something he didn't fully own before, but now it belongs to him completely. A desire for complete control flowed in his heart, and instinctively he raised his right hand. The green light shone, and several large stones in the distance gradually floated up, flying in the air according to his thoughts, and even going straight into space. This didn't end, because the few big stones in space were easily pinched into dust by his mind, and then turned into dust that was invisible to the naked eye. This is the advantage of the superpower of the tornado template. The feeling of being in control at will, it is simply not too cool. It's a good ability. I tried to awaken superpowers before, but unfortunately the superpowers at that time couldn't be studied for a long time, but now I can study it at will. 1. With a trace of anticipation, Hazuki quietly floated into the air, began to fly far away in the lingering green light, and began to swim like a goshawk in the blue sky and white clouds. Fly. He did it completely, not floating, not jumping, but really flying, really roaming the sky. This feeling of freedom, this feeling of flying freely is really fun, and it took half an hour for Hazuki to stop playing. Advertisement. Almost there. The shadow clones have already made every effort to develop the bloodline medicine. Of course, this time the bloodline medicine material will use Senju Hashirama's cells. Hazuki murmured softly. He didn't want to use his own material this time, because others were not qualified to use such a potion. His blood could only be used by his family. Certainly. The cells of Senju Hashirama are enough, and the purified potion has a very terrifying effect, allowing anyone who takes it to gain super resilience and chakra, and even more terrifying abilities can be awakened, such as the chance to awaken Rinnegan, but unfortunately the hope is a little slim and it will take a long time. As for the source of Senju Hashirama's cells, it couldn't be simpler, and with Orochimaru as his disciple, these things were easily available. Forget it. I don't want to do this anymore. Let's continue to ask others to see which option is more suitable for my future path, then go to Tsunade. After Hazuki finished speaking, he disappeared in a circle of water ripples. Snow Country. A hotel full of guests. This hotel, which is close to the street and shrouded in white snow, looks like a snow-covered hotel with a winter beauty. In the hotel, a large number of heaters are arranged around the house, making this cold weather extra warm. In the center of the hotel, which is also the best seat, two beauties, one big and one small, are sitting next to each other, sipping mellow wine. Among them, the little black-haired beauty sat on her knees and served the other big beauty with a jug, with a hint of helplessness in her eyes. As for the big beauty, she is very eye-catching. She is a young and beautiful woman with a terrifying weapon that surpasses 36D. Her body is plump and fiery, with smooth double ponytails, and her skin is fair and firm, as dazzling as the most exquisite works of art. And her face turned out to be the lovely appearance of a 20-year-old girl, which formed a very contradictory visual impact with her fiery figure. But because of this, everyone in the entire inn was secretly watching, staring at her beautiful face. But none of these people dared to provoke them, because anyone who dared to approach this woman within 1 meter would be defeated. Everyone knows that this woman has a more terrifying strength under her stunning beauty, a strength that makes countless people tremble. It is a pity that everyone has a love for beauty, although they dare not approach, but the people around are secretly watching, admiring the beautiful face. These two people are none other than Tsunade and Shizune, who are playing in the world, and they have come to the country of snow without knowing it, and are renovating at this hotel. Squeak. Advertisement. The hotels were pushed aside, and two strong warriors entered. They looked around with their sabers, and when they saw Tsunade, the center of the hotel, the two of them stayed for a while. What a beautiful woman, it's the first time I've seen such a unique one. The bald-headed warrior among them praised. It's really beautiful, she looks like a 20-year-old woman, but her figure is too abnormal, why don't we get to know each other? Another samurai suggested. Let's go to the captain's side first, the captain is beckoning. The bald-headed warrior looked at the corner of the hotel and found their captain waving eagerly. Both of them were a little dazed. With an inexplicable feeling, the two came to the corner captain's table. Captain, what's wrong with you? Why do you feel weird when you wave? The bald-headed warrior wondered. Shish. Be quiet, do you want to die? The samurai captain hurriedly signaled, warning the two in a low voice. Wanna die? The bald warrior was at a loss, and he whispered tentatively. What's the matter, Captain? Why are you so careful? Is there an enemy? It's not the enemy, it's the two women over there. Did you know that you were almost done? The samurai captain said hurriedly. Ah, I'm a beautiful woman. What's wrong with her? The bald warrior was puzzled and couldn't figure out why. HMPH, that woman is very powerful. There were two groups of people who wanted to meet them before, and there were even ninjas, but the result. What was the result? As a result, those people were all knocked out by one blow. The beautiful woman over there is a very violent and powerful ninja. If you really passed by just now, then your limbs are probably knocked out. 1. The samurai captain said with a warning, causing the other two to turn pale with fright. Really? Really so scary? The two samurai said at the same time. Nonsense. Didn't you look at the customers around you? Are they all honest? Can't you just keep your eyes open? Captain 50 taught a lesson. Quote. This, we got it. Thank you, Captain. 1. The two samurai said gratefully, and sat down honestly. However, just after the two sat down for a while, the hotel door was pushed open again, and then a young man with a blindfold walked in. This person's temperament is very unique, and the moment he appeared, he attracted everyone's attention, even the big and small beauties who were drinking looked at the young man. Then the young man, in full view, walked straight to the big and small beauty. Advertisement. Hey, there's another good show to watch. The samurai captain whispered. Yes, it is estimated that as soon as you walk within 1 meter, you will be sent flying. It is very likely that when the distance of 1 meter is reached, the big beauty will stand up and blow this young man away with a punch. Several people whispered, a gesture of watching a good show. In this way, under everyone's attention, the young man wearing the blindfold walked within 1 meter to the front of the beautiful lady. Then, the big beauty who was sitting suddenly stood up and rushed out in front of everyone's expectation. I'm going to fight, I'm going to punch, and I'm going to fly with one punch. The samurai captain hurriedly reminded, which also aroused everyone's expectation. In their expectant gaze, the big beauty ran up to the young man and hugged him tightly, hugging him like a couple. That warm gesture, the scene of hugging each other tightly, made everyone dumbfounded for a while, and the whole hotel became silent, of li jiaos and needles could be heard. People were stunned, staring at the scene in front of them, looking at the picture that was so different from what they imagined, their minds were a little confused. What's going on here? Why is this happening? Didn't they all fly with one punch before? Someone said blankly. I'm also wondering, the key is that the young man is being held like this, it's too enjoyable. Someone said with envy and hatred. That's not it. What's so good about being tender? Uncles like me are more popular. The people around were talking a lot, and they were very envious of the masked young man, but in addition to their envy, they only had the ambition to envy. And next, they are even more envious and want to go crazy. Because the big beauty actually pulled the young man by the mask and sat at the dining table to eat together, and then the big beauty poured wine for the young man and served him to eat. Such a picture, such a scene, all the people who envy want to strangle the young man to death. Mummy, this kid is so happy, sitting in the middle of two beauties, and the beautiful woman pouring wine herself, can you stop being so irritating? It's unreasonable for such a beautiful woman to treat this masked young man like this. The key is that other people have been beaten up by big beauties in the past, but this young man with a mask has nothing at all. I really envy me. Open black lens bracket 164 close black lens bracket unknown world coordinates. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The people in the hotel said, their teeth itching with envy. However, their voices were a little louder, causing the masked young man to frown. At this moment, the warm hotel seemed to have entered the ice and snow, and everyone felt a deep chill, which was a whimper from the bottom of their hearts. Fear rose in everyone's heart, and the entire hotel fell into a state of complete silence because of the young man's brow. Roll. The grim voice echoed, and all the people who ate their meals turned pale with fright, and the invisibility of death shrouded their hearts. In order to survive, they ran out of the hotel as if possessed, and fled to the street in panic. After they ran outside, they finally recovered some form, and then turned their heads to look at the hotel in amazement. What a terrible feeling. I felt like I was going to die just now. The samurai captain swallowed. Yeah, it's terrible. Who is that person? What ability was that just now? I don't know. This person is definitely a super powerful ninja. We can't afford it. Let's change the hotel. I don't dare to stay in this hotel. Yes, I don't dare anymore. Hurry up, hurry up. 1. People talked a lot, and hurriedly walked away in awe. In the hotel, Hazuki drank the wine that Tsunade handed over, and turned to look at Tsunade, who was getting younger and younger, and her body that was getting better and better. Under the action of the blood potion, Tsunade is transforming towards the Otsutsuki clan, and the lifespan of the whole person is lengthening infinitely. Even 570 she has the power to have the same lifespan as Otsutsuki Kagaya, and this lifespan makes her face younger and younger. It's just that her body didn't know what was going on, but instead it exploded even more. Just now, Hazuki held back for a long time, and it was too suffocating. However, this kind of hug has become a unique gift for the two of them. After so many years, the two have become confidants to each other. Even if Tsunade traveled around the ninja world, Hazuki would see her every few days, give her blood potions, draw her blood, and chat with each other. The scene of eating together like this has appeared countless times, and what they are already familiar with can no longer be familiar. Advertisement. Even Shizune, the little loli next to her, has taken it for granted, taking it for granted. Hazuki, is it 2 days earlier than usual this time? Is there something wrong? Tsunade said with Hazuki's strands of hair. Well, I want to ask you a question. Hazuki patted her soft slender hand and turned to look at her beautiful face. What's the problem? Seems to be important to you. Tsunade was a little curious, his long eyelashes blinked, and his big eyes looked expectantly. Creating, destroying, and collecting, what do you like? Hazuki asked. Create, destroy, collect. Tsunade was slightly puzzled. CJDH, Lume frowned in thought. She could see that this matter was more important to Hazuki, so she did not answer immediately. On the other hand, Shizune, the little loli next to her, spoke up. She leaned over her little head and said sweetly. It's good to create. You can create all kinds of ninjutsu, new things, it must be more interesting. Hazuki nodded, then looked at Tsunade. Tsunade's thinking time is relatively long, which is very different from her original character, which seems a little wrong. Hazuki, can you tell me the specific reason? I need to know more. More info. Hazuki stared at Tsunade's face, and said silently for a moment, are you sure you want to know? Sure. Tsunade nodded, not caring at all what this meant, but looked at Hazuki with a warm smile. $3. Hazuki took a deep breath, approached Tsunade's fair and delicate little ears, and said a few words softly. It turned out to be such a choice. Wait, I understand, I choose to collect. Tsunade said without hesitation. Advertisement. Why? Hazuki was curious. He took this task too seriously, so he had to be cautious. Because if you destroy, you must destroy a race, which is very difficult, and if it is to collect, you only need to collect one. As for creation, although it is very difficult, but. Tsunade's lips curled into a smile, and he carefully whispered in Hazuki's ear. And her words, with the warmth of her breath, swayed in Hazuki's ears, but Hazuki ignored them and looked at Tsunade in surprise. It turns out that it is equivalent to choosing two at the same time. Hazuki's eyes shone brightly, and his mood improved instantly. With a surprise, Hazuki took the initiative to clench Tsunade's slender hand, and said softly, "Great choice, what reward do you want?" "Reward? Anything." Tsunade smiled like a flower arrangement. "Tell me." Hazuki replied with a smile, but there was a strong confidence in his voice. "I'll talk about it later, when I think about it." 1. Tsunade didn't say the reward, but picked up the jug and poured wine for Hazuki again. "It's cold outside, have a drink and warm up. It is good." The warm atmosphere is rippling. Hazuki and Tsunade have been together for a long time, and Tsunade is drunk for a long time. "I've packed this shop today, you can go." Hazuki threw a stack of money to the shop owner, and after they left, Hazuki helped Tsunade up the stairs and headed for the lounge on the second floor. "Brother Hazuki, I'm going to rest, you can call me if you have anything." Shizune waved his hand and ran to the next room to sleep, while in the lounge, only Hazuki and the drunk Tsunade were left. After gently holding Tsunade on the tatami and covering her with the quilt, Hazuki came to the table to drink tea. The information obtained from Tsunade is collected, and there is always a moment when it is collected, so there may be no targets to collect in the future. Advertisement. And creation. You can create infinite races, you can continue to complete tasks and get rewards, so it seems that creation is the best, but collecting the created races into a small world, isn't that equivalent to choosing two at the same time? And can continue to get rewards, more long-term and extensive, and not as difficult as destruction, so Hazuki silently communicates with the system. System. I choose the third item, collect. Ding. After the selection is complete, come on, master. Ding. Detected your small world, and has collected a large number of biological races, including humans, a total of 103 races. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Ding. Congratulations on getting 3 small collection packages and 1 collecting gift package, do you want to open it? Close black lens bracket. The mechanical system sound continued in his mind, and Hazuki raised his eyebrows when he heard the sound. It seems that 100 small gift bags are equal to 1 medium gift bag. Hazuki muttered to himself, and quickly chose to open the 3 collection packs. Ding. Congratulations to the master for getting a black wig. Close black lens bracket. Ding. Congratulations to the master for getting a small amount of chakra. Close black lens bracket. Ding. Congratulations to the master for obtaining Sonic's ninja sword. Close black lens bracket. Wig. Hazuki frowned secretly when he saw the reward, because these things were useless to him, especially the wig, which was simply cheating. Forget it. Let's open the intermediate collection package, I don't know what to get. Hazuki took a deep breath and chose to open the intermediate collection pack with anticipation. Ding. Congratulations to the owner for obtaining the coordinates of the unknown world nearby. Close black lens bracket. Huh. The coordinates of the unknown world. It's interesting. Hazuki was surprised. He never expected such a reward. It was quite an interesting reward. I don't know what world it is. I really want to see it, but don't worry, I will finish the task of Hokage Ninja World first. 165, Be my disciple or die. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hazuki didn't rashly search right away, but pondered the mission of the ninja world of Hokage. He still has 3 unfinished tasks, except for the task of collecting and creating races, the rest are very simple, just a little time consuming. Certainly. He also has some goals of his own, such as raising his physique to the ultimate of the Otsutsuki clan as soon as possible, only in this way can he travel to other worlds with confidence. Let's go back and take the family, Take this stupid woman too. Hazuki glanced at the fascinated Tsunade, and whispered softly. By the way, if I go to that unknown world, I don't know if I can come back. It would be nice if I could travel between the two worlds frequently. Hazuki was looking forward to it, thinking about how to take the next road, and planning to redefine the next road. The right hand penetrated into the void, and when it reappeared, a notebook and a pen appeared. Hazuki started to record on the notebook. This record lasted for more than 2 hours, and he also wrote several pages in this notebook. A lazy voice came from behind, and soon it was the sound of light footsteps, and then he was covered with a soft blanket. You don't have to guess to know, it must be the big beautiful girl Tsunade put it on for him. It's cold, don't freeze. Tsunade stroked Hazuki's hair and spoke softly, with a faint hint of confusion and sleepiness. Go and rest, I'm fine. Hazuki returned without looking up, and continued to write the record. It's okay, do you need my help? Tsunade sat next to Hazuki and asked. No need, I'll be leaving later. Let's go so soon. The snow scene in this country is very good, why don't you stay and see? Tsunade lightly parted his fragrant lips, with a faint anticipation. Next time. Next time. Okay. Tsunade sighed softly, and finally summoned up the courage to invite Hazuki, but he was rejected, and Tsunade felt a little lost. But she still sat next to Hazuki, chatting with him, so that he would not be alone, but after a long time, the sleepy Tsunade fell asleep next to Hazuki again. In the early hours of the morning, when Hazuki finished recording, he looked at Tsunade who was sleeping and was about to leave. But at this time, he found that Tsunade's state was not right, or that she had reached the limit of transformation. Advertisement. It's actually starting to transform at this time. It seems that my bloodline can quickly improve again. Hazuki said in surprise. With anticipation, Hazuki gently picked up the sleeping Tsunade, placed her on the tatami in the form of a princess hug, and waited for the end of her transformation. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours later, the transformation finally came to an end, and a beautiful woman appeared in front of Hazuki. Snow-white skin like jade, youthful and beautiful face, fiery flamboyant body, and long, smooth hair, every bit exudes infinite charm. It's a really attractive face, but I clearly adjusted the direction of the blood potion to keep her as she was as much as possible, but her hair still grew longer. Hazuki murmured softly, molding her small face with a large hand, then looked at the long hair. Hazuki, are you talking about my hair? Tsunade on the tatami opened his eyes, and there were actually ripples in his original eyes, similar to Rinnegan's ripples. It's just that the ripples are very faint, and if you don't look carefully, you can't see it clearly. The hair has grown so much, Hazuki, don't you like it? The fair little hand brushed her long hair. Tsunade still liked her long hair so soft. It's not that I don't like it, I'm just used to the old you. Hazuki thought for a while. So it is. Tsunade showed a warm smile, and suddenly a handful of kunai appeared in his small hand, and placed it in Hazuki's palm. After doing this, she did not stop moving, but sat in front of Hazuki and exposed her tender back to Hazuki. Cut my hair until you like it. The soft voice came. The voice was very pleasant, but also full of firmness. Hazuki was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect Tsunade to say such a thing, and there was a slight change in his heart. Hinata, who was shy in the original novel, even fought against the mighty pain for Naruto's sake. Her brave appearance was a huge contrast to her character. And now, the powerful and grumpy Tsunade said such words in such a warm manner that Hazuki didn't know how to answer. He was silent for a long time, stroked his long smooth hair with a big hand, and raised his right hand gently. Stab it. The long hair was neatly cut off and returned to its original appearance. Those broken hairs were taken into the small world by Hazuki. Okay. Advertisement. Tsunade looked at her beloved hair that was cut off. She didn't look sad, but tilted her head and looked at Hazuki with warmth. And now, do you like it? After saying this, Tsunade looked at Hazuki hopefully, and placed his small white hand on top of Hazuki's big hand. I will accompany you to see the snow scene tomorrow. Hazuki didn't answer Tsunade's words, just clasped her little hand and hugged her gently. Well, get under the quilt, it's cold outside. With a happy smile, Tsunade pulled Hazuki and sat on the tatami together, hugging each other and continuing to chat for a long time. The next day, in the snow scene, of course, J-Pow also brought. There are few places, and laughter is naturally indispensable during the period. After the game, Hazuki recollected Tsunade's blood, ready to go back to refine more advanced blood potions. Of course, in order to complete the task, he also accepted Shizune as a disciple and left her with a potion to reach the cage level before leaving to return to Konoha. In the next time, I will try my best to search for races, create races, and then wait for the blood medicine to take shape, and cultivate 100 cage level powerhouses. 1. As Hazuki said, he sent out a large number of clones to go to the entire ninja world and started a big search mission. At the same time, some clones joined the research and accepted disciples. 5 days later, on the border of the Fire Nation, in a green valley, Uchiha Fugaku looked at the masked figure solemnly, and there was no sign of surrender in his stubborn eyes. Be my disciple or die. The cold voice echoed. Uchiha Fugaku clenched the kunai in his hands, and the 3 tomo of his eyes had already opened. Sorry, even if I die, I Uchiha will not frown. The arrogant Uchiha will never worship foreigners as teachers. 1. For flowers. Uchiha Fugaku said with a firm attitude, even if he died because of this, he would not turn back. Really ignorant. The masked man sneered, as would clone, although he has no template, he also has terrifying abilities, that is. Boom. The terrifying chakra surged, and Susanoo, a complete body like a mountain, suddenly rose from the ground, standing between the heavens and the earth with monstrous power. The majestic body, the mysterious armor, the huge wings, the mysterious mask, the long sword like a mountain, and the height that can't be seen at a glance, it is as suffocating as a god. Advertisement. As a being that surpasses Otsutsuki Kagaya, even Susanoo of the clone surpasses Susanoo of Sage of Six Paths. Like Miku Itachi and Sasuke's Susanoo, even the current Susanoo's ankle can't reach it, and the terrifying gap is clear at a glance. And such a Susanoo, this complete Susanoo wearing a golden mask, also completely frightened Uchiha Fugaku, and even slumped to the ground in fright. As the Uchiha Patriarch, he knows more than anyone else, he has seen many materials in the clan, and he also knows the introduction about Susanoo. Point 0. But looking at the Susanoo in front of him, it was too huge. The hugeness exceeded his imagination, and it was even several times stronger than the Susanoo in the data. With horror, Uchiha Fugaku said in horror, "Is this Susanoo? Why is it so huge? Why has the appearance changed? Who are you? Is it Uchiha Madara-sama? Madara. He doesn't deserve it, and this Susanoo is just one of them, so let's convince you and show up." An indifferent voice fell from the sky, and with this voice, the terrifying chakra surged around the valley, and the entire valley turned into a sea of chakra at this moment. Boom 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 boom. Dozens of complete Susanoos rose from the ground, standing between the sky and the earth in an instant, forming a terrifying scene that was terrifying to the ultimate. Again, become my disciple, or the Uchiha clan will disappear from this world today. The cold voice fell from the sky again, and Uchiha Fugaku was desperate to ultimate. Such an enemy, such a means, such a godlike might, how could he possibly block, and how dare he block, except to admit defeat, he had no way to go. For the sake of the clan, for the sake of the entire Uchiha clan, he roared in a low voice, "I'm over it." Uchiha Fugaku's voice fell, and all Susanoo disappeared at this moment, leaving only dozens of masked figures. "Let's go. Come with us to see the main body," one of the clones said coldly. Ontology. Uchiha Fugaku's body froze, and the horror in his eyes had reached the ultimate. It was so terrifying that Susanoo was just a clone, such a super strong man, he felt shivering just thinking about it. Konoha village, Hazuki's home. Hazuki, who was researching in the laboratory, suddenly paused, then closed his eyes and absorbed the knowledge that the 2 clones had worn back. One of them was the news, which was to accept the news that Uchiha Fugaku was a disciple. And the other is, the shadow clone who has finished learning talent gives back. Ding. Congratulations to the master for learning the last talent, completely completing the talent task, and rewarding 5% on the Saitama template. Open black lens bracket 166 close black lens bracket collect. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hearing the mechanical voice of the system, Hazuki's lips curled into a smile. Finally completed this task, the 5% Saitama template upgrade is still a very good reward. After Hazuki finished speaking, he disappeared in circles of water ripples and went to accept Uchiha Fugaku as his disciple. 5 minutes later, the ripples appear again, and Hazuki returns to the laboratory. Everything that needs to be dealt with has been dealt with, and then continue to experiment, and strive to study more races, even variants are not bad. 11. Open black lens bracket ding. Congratulations to your shadow clone for collecting one race and get one collection gift bag. Close black lens bracket. Keep the small gift bags, and exchange them for medium-sized gift bags. It's only 100. It's simple. Hazuki ignored the sound of the system, because he heard such beeps every day. Every time Shadow Clone or his subordinates put a race into the small world, he will be rewarded. In this huge ninja world, there are actually countless races. Although the requirements of the system are very high, most of them do not meet the requirements of the system, but Hazuki probably estimated the system standard. As long as it is a race that can speak, it absolutely meets the system standard. Even some special creatures that can't speak, 570s, can occasionally meet the standard, but the probability is very low. But even so, the number of speaking races in the ninja world is still huge. For example, talking turtles, dogs, cats, ostriches, toads, snakes, katsuyu, ape demons, tailed beasts, etc. As long as they are all put into the small world, Hazuki will be able to harvest. It can be said, this ninja world is a big treasure for Hazuki, a good place to keep getting rewards, so Hazuki is not in a hurry to leave, but falls into the study of races. Open black lens bracket ding. Congratulations to your shadow clone for collecting one race and get one collection gift bag. Close black lens bracket. Ninja world. In an underground cave, Orochimaru and Kakuzu, carrying a ninja beast, walked through the underground cave, and finally stayed in the depths of the huge cave. In front of them, a space vortex similar to a space gate is constantly rotating, exuding mysterious space fluctuations. And they looked at the mysterious space vortex, showing curious and exploratory eyes. It's a mysterious power. I don't know what will be on the other side of the space vortex. I really want to go in and have a look. Orochimaru said expectantly. The Lord said that no one is allowed to enter the vortex, so let's obediently throw the ninja beast into it. Kakuzu said indifferently. Advertisement. He didn't like Orochimaru very much, but Orochimaru was sent by the super strong man, and he could only be unhappy as a companion with Orochimaru. I know what to do. Orochimaru glanced at Kakuzu with a sneer, and a sense of superiority rose in his heart. As a disciple of the super strong, his status is inherently different from Kakuzu, which is also the capital of his pride. He felt that if he entered the vortex of space, he might be treated differently. However, this matter needs to be observed. If he is cautious, he will not blindly enter the space vortex. The best method at this stage is to try. Be careful, this monkey ninja is very clever, it's best not to have an accident. Kakuzu reminded coldly. No. Orochimaru squinted and threw the monkey ninja into the space vortex. Whoosh. The monkey ninja flew through the air and flew towards the space vortex extremely quickly, but its strength was obviously smaller, and it stopped at a position close to the space vortex. Orochimaru, what are you doing? You can't imagine the consequences of breaking the adults. Kakuzu warned in a cold voice, turned and walked towards the space vortex. After seeing the strength of the super strong, Kakuzu has already recognized the reality, and he does not dare to slack off on the task explained by the adults. Even if it was Orochimaru's sake, Kakuzu tried to correct it and did his best to complete the task, so he walked over and tried to catch the ninja beast and throw it into the space vortex. But right now, the space vortex suddenly expanded and expanded, oscillating as if it were boiling, and then a huge stone hand suddenly stretched out from the space vortex. Boom. The earth trembled, the whole cave was slapped by the big hand, almost shattering the cave, and the ninja beast was grabbed back by the big stone hand with the vibration. What is that? Kakuzu was surprised, it was the first time he had seen such a huge arm, and there seemed to be some terrifying existence in the space. The owner of this arm gives me a very dangerous feeling, and I can feel that there is an existence in the space that can easily kill me in seconds. What could it be? Kakuzu said solemnly. He didn't get a response after saying this, and looked back with doubts, but he didn't see Orochimaru's figure. Kakuzu wondered, why did Orochimaru suddenly disappear when he was in the back just now? Advertisement. Did you run away when something went wrong? What a timid guy, Kakuzu said coldly, with a trace of disdain in his words. Whoosh. The figure of Orochimaru suddenly appeared, but the whole person looked very embarrassed. Orochimaru, are you? Kakuzu looked at Orochimaru, who looked miserable, and couldn't understand what was going on. Although the big stone hand is very fast, it is nothing for them to dodge at this level, but why does Orochimaru look like a miserable face? I don't know what happened just now. When the big hand appeared, I couldn't move, and then it was shot away. Orochimaru opened his mouth with an ugly face, vaguely aware that this was a warning. Yuan Zaibe, do your best to complete your mission. Kakuzu's face was solemn, and he glanced at the space vortex from the corner of his eyes, and vaguely understood that the adult was in the space. Okay. Continue to follow the mission requirements to catch the ninja beasts. Orochimaru said quickly. Walk. The two quickly left, and they were relieved when they left the cave, and then they looked at each other with fear. However, they did not speak, but took out a scroll and went to catch the ninja according to the above requirements. Underground cave. The other side of the vortex of space. The large stone statue summoned by Tenseigan, holding the trembling ninja beast, threw it on the ground, and then looked at the area behind. I saw a busy scene on the endless land behind. Thousands of large stone statues are grimacing, digging river channels frantically, along the vast land, busy according to specific requirements. Their task is to dig out more than a dozen winding rivers on this continent called Number 1, and build Hazuki his own home. At the same time, a large amount of Katsuyu spewed acid, which corroded deep pits and used them to excavate large lakes. The Sanjiao fish and a large number of ninja beasts are also helping, and they are also responsible for connecting rivers and lakes, and they work hard as hard labor. In addition to these, there are thousands of shadow clone who are busy. The Tenseigan of their right eye shown from time to time, scatters a lot of seeds on the ground, and uses ninjutsu to create a green environment. Advertisement. At the same time, there is also Shadow Clone who uses Earth style to change the landscape and make a large-scale transformation of the Number 1 continent. With so many Shadow Clone busy, continent Number 1 has become more and more perfect. Even they have built a villa living area, and gradually have the scene of modern society. Of course, this is the home of Hazuki. As for the distant continent Number 2, that is where others live, mainly arranged for Nawaki and Hitaki Sakumo. As for the development of continent Number 2, of course, they developed it themselves. Hazuki can be too lazy to care about it, and at most just create a natural environment. These Hazukis were done long ago, and this is an important prerequisite for those people to survive. Certainly. These Hazuki don't care for a long time. He is now more in the laboratory, conducting various researches. Like the sound of bees flapping their wings, Hazuki in the laboratory felt a slight tingling in his left eye, and the 9 tomo spun rapidly at this moment. Have you awakened your abilities again? This time it turned out to be Amaterasu, but unfortunately it's useless, so continue researching. Without focusing on the awakening of the left eye, Hazuki got busy again. Time flies, the days of not being arrogant are fleeting, and a few years have passed in a blink of an eye. A small world that belongs to Hazuki's Villa No. 1. 3.7 Hazuki stood in the huge basement, looking at the illusory vortex of space in front of him, slightly looking forward to it. Finally, the positioning is completed. I didn't expect that it would still be so difficult given the spatial coordinates. Hazuki said faintly. Husband, do you really want to go? Can you not go? I'm afraid that something will happen to you. Makoto hugged Hazuki's arm and said worriedly. At this moment, she has already changed. Although she has preserved her original appearance as much as possible, the edges of her eyes still bear the ripples of Rinnegan. Don't worry, I won't be so stupid, I'll definitely try it first, don't worry. Hazuki kissed Makoto's fragrant lips, and whispered softly with his leaning body. Well, hubby, can I ask you a favor? Makoto raised his head and nestled in Hazuki's arms. What's up? Hazuki was curious. Makoto seldom asked him anything, such a scene is very rare. Husband, promise me that under any circumstances, you must protect your own safety first, please. Makoto said pleadingly. His pale little face was full of worry, and those slender hands were clutching Hazuki's clothes tightly, as if he was afraid of losing him if he let go. Open black lens bracket 167 close black lens bracket otherworld gate. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Hazuki squeezed Makoto's little face, kissed her lips a few more times, and then hugged her and sat on the large sofa next to him. Don't worry, I have made adequate preparations. Hazuki waved his hand confidently, and in an instant several figures appeared from the space, standing respectfully in front of Hazuki. These figures include small ninja beasts, clones, small puppets, Pain Heaven, and Impure World Reincarnation, all of which are Hazuki's methods. With the horror of his eyes, it was easy to get Pen's 6 paths, and at most it was a little troublesome to get a corpse. Now Hazuki is considering the versatility of different abilities in the world, to put it simply, whether the abilities of the Hokage world can be used in the other world. It's a serious issue, and Hazuki has to take it into account, and that's why he comes up with so many heuristics. Certainly, with the Saitama template in hand, there is no need to worry about safety. Compared with the ability to obtain it yourself, the system's Saitama template is obviously more terrifying. Fundamentally, his route is always based on the Saitama template, supplemented by his own practice. Try it, the two worlds are so close together, there should be some commonality, maybe they can be used. 1 inch. After making the decision, Hazuki patted Makoto 29's slender waist and said, Makoto, you go back to the ninja world and wait for me, I don't worry about you here. Well, my husband must be fine. Makoto said with worry in his eyes. After saying this, she stood on tiptoe and hugged Hazuki's neck, kissed Hazuki lightly, and then obediently escaped into the void in the water ripples and returned to the ninja world. In the entire basement, only Hazuki and his various methods were left, as well as the illusory space vortex, also called the Space Gate. Actually, advertisement. The Space Gate was not set in the small world at the beginning. Hazuki was originally a portal established in the ninja world, intending to communicate with the other world there, but finally gave up. Because there are too many failures, there seems to be some strong interference between ninja world and otherworld, which leads to the portal between the world and the world, which is very easy to collapse. On the contrary, because of his control, Small World successfully established a space gate. It can be said that his small world has become a kind of existence that connects the Hokage world and the other world. Certainly, now is not the time to think about that, the most important thing now is to explore the other world. Hazuki took a deep breath and approached the huge space vortex, trying to control its rapid rotation, and in a very short period of time, condensed a starry light and shadow zone. This scene looks very mysterious, as gorgeous as a bridge in the void. Also at this moment, boom! With the roar of the shock, the space Uzumaki officially opened up the path with the other world, and Hazuki's small world is also suddenly expanding at this moment. Ding! Congratulations to the master for opening the door to Otherworld for the first time, opening the journey to the plane, and rewarding 5% Saitama template. Ding! Your small world begins to absorb the essential energy of the target world, and the expansion of the small world accelerates. Close black lens bracket. Ding! Your small world is more complete, and if you absorb it for a long time, you will be free to use your abilities in the target world. Close black lens bracket. Hazuki was surprised when the mechanical voice echoed in his head. His small world, originally expanded for a few years, gradually slowed down, and it seemed that it had absorbed too much energy from the ninja world, resulting in insufficient supply. But he didn't expect to have such an unexpected joy after getting through the other world, which really surprised him. It's really a good harvest. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to use my abilities there, but now I don't have to worry about it, just wait for a while at most. Hazuki said in surprise, waved his hand with deep curiosity and said, go and explore the other world, be careful and don't make a big noise. Yes. Advertisement. Several silhouettes flashed past and quickly rushed into the revolving space door to explore the other world on the other side. Hazuki, on the other hand, unlocked the jet black mask, opened the Saitama template, and was on alert in the strongest state, waiting for the feedback of information. Suddenly, He narrowed his eyes. I'm really disappointed that the impure world reincarnation body dissipated in an instant. It seems that it will take time. Hazuki shook his head and sighed, choosing to continue to wait. Soon, the little ninja ran back quickly because of some kind of pressure, and its facial features had blood in it, as if it was squeezed into such a state by pressure. And the information it fed back didn't encounter the enemy, but it just appeared over there and couldn't bear it, and ran back. Can't you bear it? Is the level of the opposite world too high, or is it just the difference in the world? Hazuki was not in a hurry, and continued to wait quietly, and soon the clone dissipated and returned, but Pain Tiandao persisted the longest. After a while, boom! The space door was reclosed by Hazuki, and he turned to look at the embarrassed Pen Tiandao. After some exploration, Hazuki frowned slightly, because Pen Tiandao's body actually collapsed in half from the inside out. The exploration of Otherworld is really not easy. Even if I just observe around for so long, my body will collapse, but I have also gained information. 1. I learned from the feedback that there is a vast grassland there, with a blue sky, and the ninja beasts can survive, which means that there is air, but there is a huge creature walking on the grassland. Its strength is very weak, but its size is very impressive. What is it? Hazuki was confused and wanted to probe again, but to be on the safe side, he decided to wait. Moreover, the small world has absorbed a lot of energy, and it seems to be pregnant with something, which makes him very curious. Don't rush to explore, let's wait for the small world to digest the energy first. After Hazuki finished speaking, he left behind many guards to guard here, and he disappeared in the ripples of water, returning home to report safety. Advertisement. Hokage Ninja World, where the Hyuga clan resides. Hazuki returned to the living room of the house amid the ripples of water, but before he could stand firm, two soft and slender bodies rushed towards him, holding him tightly. It's all right, don't be afraid. Hazuki patted Makoto and Kushina on the back and comforted them softly, with a warm smile on his lips. When he has such a good wife, he cares about himself for 570 hours, and Hazuki feels very comfortable. This kind of warmth of home is also an important reason why he is not in a hurry to explore the otherworld. Husband, don't explore otherworld, okay? I'm afraid of losing you. Kushina said, clutching the corner of Hazuki's clothes. Makoto next to him didn't say anything, but he looked like he was praying. You guys. Hazuki rubbed the little heads of the two wives, and instead of agreeing to their proposal, he shook his head helplessly. His Otsutsuki bloodline could no longer be improved, because the raw materials for the bloodline medicine were gone. Because the souls of Makoto and Kushina are too weak, and their physiques only reach the normal Otsutsuki clan, they can no longer take blood medicine. If you want to continue to improve their strength, the only way is to increase the strength of the soul, which is also an important shackle of the Mensunade. Hazuki didn't encounter this problem. His soul was not shackled at all. If it weren't for the poor blood medicine material, he might have been able to improve all the way, which is very strange. Go back and study the reason. Hazuki said secretly. Open black lens bracket ding. Congratulations to your shadow clone for collecting one race and get one collection gift bag. Open black lens bracket ding. You have 1000 small collection packages, do you want to exchange them for one big collection package? Close black lens bracket. What? Hazuki was surprised. This is the first time he has encountered this kind of collecting gift package, so he said with great anticipation, of course exchange it. Open black lens bracket ding. The exchange is successful. Congratulations to the owner for getting a collection package, do you want to open it? Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket, 168b. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Open. Hazuki said without hesitation. Open black lens bracket ding. When you open the collection package for the first time, you can specify an equivalent template once. Do you want to choose? Close black lens bracket. Specify a template. Hazuki was shocked, and without hesitation specified, I want the Saitama template. Open black lens bracket ding. Reward designation. Congratulations to the owner for getting 10% Saitama template. Close black lens bracket. 10% Saitama template. That's a good value to collect, if you get another one. 1. Hazuki was pleasantly surprised, but quickly frowned again. Most of the creatures in the ninja world have been put into the small world. It is very difficult to come up with a second collection package, and it can only be said that it is possible to succeed. Try it. This time mobilize all members of the Akatsuki organization to try to harvest another collection package, and also try to explore the other world. After the decision was made, Hazuki issued an order through the space, ordering the Akatsuki organization to collect all kinds of biological races, and he was also caught in the research and development of the race. Certainly, the exploration of the otherworld did not stop, and he continued to test, but after testing the general information, Hazuki decisively stopped the exploration. It's a dangerous world, and it's not suitable for the past for the time being, so let's try to collect races and make the Saitama template 100% before deciding. After Hazuki finished speaking, he waved his hand, the moving portal shrank to ultimate, leaving only a hole for absorbing energy. Then Hazuki threw himself into the research again, but the whole ninja world started to turmoil because of his orders. Many of his disciples searched for races like crazy, even the tailed beasts were not spared, and they were all taken away, causing the entire ninja world to be confused and suspicious. In order to investigate this sudden appearance of the Akatsuki organization, the major ninja villages successively sent out master investigations, even the Konoha village. Advertisement. Unfortunately, what happened next shocked the entire ninja world. Jiraiya, one of Konoha Sannin, disappeared during the pursuit and investigation. Then Eight Tails Jinchuriki of the Land of Thunder, Mizukage Yagura of the Land of Water, Kazakh Rasha of the Land of Sand, and many Jinchuriki. All of them disappeared. It can be said that this Shao organization shocked the entire ninja world and put everyone in danger in the major ninja villages. But, after losing superpowers one after another, the major villages were completely discouraged, and they no longer dared to send powerhouses to investigate. They could only watch Shao organize a search for the ninja world, but this search took several years. Years later, Shao organization base, in a dark and mysterious huge cave. A behemoth stood still. It was the body of 10 tails exuding an inexplicable aura, and beneath it, stood several cage-level powerhouses. Nagato, Konan, Yahiko, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, Third Raikage, Obito, Namikaze Minato, Kisame, Black-White Zetsu, Deidara, Sasori, Hidan, Kakuzu, Luasha, Zabuchu, White. These cage-level powerhouses with a terrifying atmosphere are standing in different positions with serious expressions, waiting silently. They are all members of the Shao organization, and most of them are members of the Shao organization who took blood medicine and joined the Shao organization after they were promoted to cage-level powerhouses. And their teachers are all one person, that is Hazuki, the ultimate decision maker who controls the entire Akatsuki organization. In addition to these people, there are 9 tails demon fox, 8 tails Jinchuriki, other tailed beasts and Jinchuriki, as well as a large number of ninja beasts and strong men. Many super strong people who are frightening in the outside world are not even qualified to enter the depths of the cave, and can only stand in line in the cave passage. No one spoke at this moment, not even the fierce-tailed beast dared to make any fuss, but instead behaved like a cat, motionless. The reason why they are so respectful is because they are waiting for a person, a terrifying existence that makes the ninja world shudder, and that is Hazuki. Outside world. Advertisement. The location of the underground cave 100 meters away. 2 figures quickly jumped over and stopped not far from the cave. We've arrived at our Shao organization base, Hanabi, and I'll see your sister later. Azuki Yuyan showed a beautiful smile. Really? Can I really meet my sister? What about Hazuki brother? Hyuga Hanabi asked curiously. Don't call him big brother Hazuki, he is my teacher. Azuki Shion said helplessly. But brother Hazuki looks so young, is he really your teacher? Hyuga Hanabi asked in confusion. Of course it's my teacher, Mr. Hazuki hugged me when I was a kid. Azuki Yuyan thought of the scene when she fell and was picked up by a passing teacher, Hazuki. Really? You're not lying to me, are you? Hyuga Hanabi still didn't believe it, because Hazuki was too young, looking several years younger than Yazuki Yuyan, she still couldn't believe it. Really? Hazuki-sensei, like 5th Hokage Tsunade-sama, has some kind of life-extending ability, Azuki Yuyan assured. Is that so? Hyuga Hanabi still didn't believe it, and looked at Yazuki Yuyan with suspicion. Don't believe me? Then I'll tell you a secret. Your father was beaten by teacher Hazuki a lot when he was a child. Azuki Shion said mysteriously. Impossible. Brother Hazuki is so good, how could he beat someone? I don't believe it. Hyuga Hanabi shook his head, not believing it. Azuki Yuyan was extremely depressed. Looking at Hyuga Hanabi's cute appearance, she seemed to think of herself when she was a child. Quote. You can't think wildly at a young age, otherwise you can only be unrequited. Mao Yushian persuaded bitterly. How come? Mr. Shion, how did you join the Shao organization? I remember that only cage level is eligible to join. Hyuga Hanabi changed the subject. Advertisement. Because I'm a disciple of Mr. Hazuki. Azuki Shion was a little proud. Brother Hazuki has a high status in the Akatsuki organization. Isn't he the Akatsuki organization he just joined? Hyuga Hanabi blinked his eyes in confusion. That's a rumor, you'll find out later. Azuki Shion did not give an answer, but showed a mysterious smile. As Brother Hazuki a captain or something? Hyuga Hanabi wondered. Come with me. Teacher Yi didn't know that I brought you here, let's give him a surprise. Kei Shion smiled. Hyuga Hanabi nodded her head, curious, happy, and a little apprehensive. The two moved forward quickly, but as soon as they approached the cave, Li Zhao's heard the roaring wind. Two figures exuding strong chakra came from a distance, quickly rushed to their vicinity, and then rushed into the cave like lightning. One of the two was carrying a sand gourd with the word, love, written on his forehead, and the other was a mature beauty with long hair, exuding a unique charm. That's Mizukage Terumi Mei from the land of water, and Gara from the land of wind. Azuki Yuyan whispered. Did they also join the Akatsuki organization? Hyuga Hanabi's eyes widened in surprise. Yeah, Mizukage joined earlier, Kazuki joined later. Azuki Yuyan explained. It's really amazing. Even they are all organized by Shao, who is the powerhouse who established the organization. It's really amazing to be able to suppress so many powerhouses. Hyuga Hanabi said with a hint of admiration in her eyes. And Azuki Shion heard this, but her lips curled into a smile, pulling Hanabi to move on. 169 80%. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Soon they came to the dark cave and saw several cage-level powerhouses standing still. Isn't that Neji? He's here too. Hyuga Hanabi looked at Hyuga Neji in the distance in surprise. Shish, keep your voice down. There are a lot of people lining up, look over there. Mao Yushian pointed to the depths of the cave. Hyuga Hanabi looked in the direction he was pointing at, and his big eyes widened again. Because she saw Kakashi, Might Guy, Kurenai Yuhi, Asuma, each exuding a powerful breath, and even saw a huge-tailed beast. In the deep area of the cave, her sister Hinata was wearing a red cloud and black trench coat, standing coolly in front of her, with a faint glow in her eyes. Is that my sister? Cool. Hanabi was very surprised that her sister, who had only been away from home for a year, was so cool, which was unexpected. Your elder sister Hinata's bloodline is very pure, and she is also the one with the fastest improvement in strength, and you will be the next one. Yu Yushian was envious. Me, can I really? Hyuga Hanabi asked curiously. Well, that's what teacher Hazuki said, and that's why I secretly brought you here. Azuki Shion affirmed. So that's the case. By the way, what about brother Hazuki? Why can't I see him 570? Hyuga Hanabi turned his head to look left and right, but he couldn't see Hazuki. He's coming soon. Azuki Yuyan smiled mysteriously and pulled Hyuga Hanabi to the center of the cave to wait. When she got here, Hyuga Hanabi didn't dare to speak, because there were too many strong people around, so she could only look around secretly, looking for the figure of brother Hazuki. 5 minutes later. Advertisement. The huge ten-tails body trembled slightly, and above its palm, a circle of ripples like water ripples spread wildly, rippling with a tyrannical aura. And with this fluctuation, a figure wearing a jet black mask descended from the void, standing on the hands of ten tails and looking down at everything. The moment he appeared, all the cage-level powerhouses, including the tailed beast, knelt down on one knee and bowed their heads respectfully. Teacher! Everyone shouted in unison, looking up in admiration, looking at the masked figure looking down at all living beings. But one person who did not kneel in the process was Hyuga Hanabi. It's not that she didn't kneel down, It's just that she was already frightened, looking up like a silly cat, looking at the dark masked figure. Because that person on the top, that person who was admired by everyone, turned out to be her brother Hazuki, which really shocked her. So Hyuga Hanabi was completely stunned, her little heart was beating wildly, she asked in disbelief. Brother Hazuki, is that you? The crisp voice reverberated, attracting everyone's attention to her, including the masked figure on Ten Tails' body. It's Hanabi, come here. Above Ten Tails' body, Hazuki waved his hand, and Hanabi below instantly floated up and quickly flew in front of Hazuki. Hazuki brother, did I get into trouble? Hyuga Hanabi finally understood, knowing that Hazuki brother is a super powerful person, and knowing that he must be in trouble by talking like this. So she pinched the corner of her clothes carefully and looked at Hazuki pitifully. It's okay. Wait for me here, I'll have a meeting first. Hazuki rubbed Hyuga Hanabi's little head and motioned her to stand beside him. 1. Hanabi nodded obediently, and hid behind Hazuki to look left and right, and when she saw that Hinata was looking at him with helpless eyes, she winked at Hinata. Advertisement. The meeting has begun. This meeting is very important. It is related to the survival of the entire ninja world, and it is also related to the small world of Hazuki. After years of crazy plundering, the ninja world can supply less and less energy to the small world, and can no longer supply too much energy to the small world. At this time, Hazuki found that plundering the population would also help the small world, so he started a big plan again, that is, population migration. Of course, this cannot be accomplished overnight, and it will not be all plundered. Hazuki has regarded the ninja world as a chicken that lays eggs, preparing to plunder with restrictions and improve his own small world. At this moment, his small world has also undergone earth-shaking, CJDH changes, and even several continents have appeared. The door leading to the otherworld was arranged by him in the number 1 and number 2 valleys. Yes, 2 valleys, because he obtained a world coordinate again by collecting gift bags. The space door of coordinate number 1 obtained at the beginning is still in a semi-closed state, because it is too dangerous to explore now. On the other hand, Hazuki did not detect any danger after opening the space gate at coordinate number 2 5 days ago, and many of his abilities can be used there, even templates, so he decided to explore it in person. This meeting was to issue multiple orders for the future, and then he devoted himself to exploring the otherworld. After half a day, the meeting was over. Hazuki handed a scroll to Konan, and then chatted with Hanabi, Hinata and the others, but at this time, the small world was slightly shocked, and Hazuki hurriedly returned to the small world. Small world, the central area of continent 1. Hazuki stared silently at his feet, at the fertile green grass. Under his gaze, a small sprout suddenly emerged from the ground, and then it grew rapidly, and in a very short period of time, it turned into a towering tree. Ding! Absorb a lot of otherworld energy, your small world has a world tree, completely free from the shackles of blood, and becomes a real small world. Close black lens bracket. Ding! Upgrading the world tree can bear fruit, and eating it can obtain various world-class abilities. Close black lens bracket. Ding! You can participate in the plot and plunder the power of the world to supply the world tree. Close black lens bracket. Ding! Hyuga Hazuki. The Otsutsuki clan. Advertisement. Templates. 100% Tornado template, 80% Saitama template. Blood followers. Rinne Sharingan, right eye, 9 Tomo Rinnegan, left. P steady. World J. Hazuki asked curiously, but unfortunately he didn't get an answer from the system. He frowned and fled into the void. When he reappeared, he had already arrived at the space gate of No. 2 Valley. Lord Hazuki. Seeing Hazuki appear, the huge Katsuyu twisted and hurriedly bowed. Well, keep guarding, I'll go there myself. Hazuki said solemnly. It's your lord, there is a slight vibration from the opposite basement through the hole, please be careful. Katsuyu continued to bow. I see. With a wave of Hazuki's hand, the space portal rapidly expanded and operated, forming a splendid starlight zone. Then he walked straight into the space door, and when he reappeared, he had come to a dilapidated basement. It's finally here, the next step is to scavenge the world and test whether I can send my subordinates to this world. When the time comes, the army of the ninja world will conquer this world for me. Hazuki clenched his fists and muttered, his eyes flashing blue and red. Boom. There was a loud roar, and a huge arm suddenly bombarded from above, making a hole in the basement and causing the basement to ripple with dust. Looking for death. Hazuki quickly closed the space door and looked up with killing intent in his eyes. Boom boom boom. Ha ha ha. Die, 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 ha ha. 1. The sound of wild laughter echoed, like a distorted sound, making it very disturbing to hear, and along with this wild laughter, a shadow enveloped the hole that was punched out. Open black lens bracket 170 close black lens bracket new world. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Boom. The earth shook, the masonry shook, and the dilapidated basement was shrouded in shadows. Hazuki looked up, and a big head like a chimpanzee appeared, but the gorilla didn't pay attention to him, but quickly turned his head to look elsewhere. Stupid human beings, you C-rank heroes dare to stop me, even B rank is not my opponent, you all should die. Boom. The shaking sound came again, causing the basement to shake slightly. Hazuki walked out of the basement with a cold face, and walked outside. But half of the basement collapsed after walking a few cloths, which made Hazuki very unhappy. He decided to kill the chimpanzee, and then go to other places to build a space door. The chimpanzee was weak just now. If this world is at this level, then Shadow Clone alone can level the world. 1 inch. Hazuki came to the upper room and was also quickly testing his abilities. The test results came out soon. Most of his abilities can be used, but it's just that there is some suppression in power, especially the suppression of Shadow Clone is the most powerful, others are fine, like the template does not suppress at all. Hazuki estimates that the suppression of Shadow Clone will disappear soon. Mainly his small world has absorbed a lot of energy, which has a great feedback on him, and it is very likely that all his abilities will be completely liberated in the future. It shouldn't take long, it absorbs too much energy. Hazuki said quietly, and continued to walk out. Outside world. This is a dilapidated residential area, living at the bottom of the society. It may have been attacked here, and many houses have been destroyed and left unused. And in this ruined residential area, a huge chimpanzee was laughing hideously and smashing wildly with his fists. On the opposite side of it, is a girl wearing a mask. This girl's figure is extremely eye-catching, concave and convex, small and exquisite, fair skin, and that miniskirt. It can be said that this is definitely a very attractive girl. It's just that at this moment, she is wearing a dog head mask, and she is holding a heavy hammer that is taller than her in her small hands. With such a shape, many people looked at her and did not dare to approach her. The most important thing was that her body was covered in bright red blood. Your companions are all down. Do you still want me to stop it? Have you thought about the consequences? The chimpanzee laughed mockingly, waving its big black fists, causing gusts of wind. I have to stop you. As a hero, behind me are human beings who need to be protected. As long as I am alive, I will never let you hurt them. 1. Advertisement. The masked girl said. The heavy hammer in her hand was lifted again, but she staggered and almost fell due to excessive blood loss. Ah, look at how touching the words are. But just because you are AC level, believe it or not, I will crush you in the next second. The chimpanzee sneered. I believe. The masked girl nodded without hesitation, and clenched the hammer in her small hand and said resolutely, but I am a hero, and a hero is a guardian. No matter how strong the enemy is, the hero must stand up without hesitation. Although I am not your opponent, if you want to hurt ordinary people, then walk over my body. The masked girl spoke. Her voice was clear and sweet, but she was firm and decisive, with absolute conviction. Such words also aroused the attention of many people, and even the heroic companion who fell to the ground cheered her on. Only. The next second the sound of breaking wind sounded. Bang! The sound of the concussion came, and the masked girl flew out like a kite with a broken string, and fell to the ground dying in the blood. Her dog head mask was shattered, revealing her fair and delicate chin, and blood was constantly spilling from the corners of her lips, proving that her condition was extremely bad. Yeah, is this a hero? It's so weak, it's useless with one punch. Don't you want to stop me? Come on, what kind of human, what kind of guardian, it's all F-king bullshit. The chimpanzee screamed violently, and continued to wave its big fist, showing its great strength. In its clamor, the heroes who fell to the ground struggled to get up, but they were seriously injured and had no choice but to watch this scene helplessly. The name of a hero cannot be trampled on. A hero is a guardian, and I will not give up. The crisp voice came again, and the masked girl who fell in the pool of blood struggled to get up, took a few steps forward staggeringly, but soon fell to the ground again. She wanted to get up, but she was seriously injured and couldn't even stand up. She just relied on her faith to support her to crawl forward and walked a full 2 meters in the blood. At this level, she couldn't hold it any longer, and couldn't take a step forward. But at this time, she struggled to pick up the small stone next to her and threw it out with all her strength. Snapped. The small stone successfully hit the chimpanzee and hit it in the face. The sound of this blow was so small that it could not even cause effective damage to the chimpanzee, but it completely annoyed the chimpanzee. Advertisement. Its eyes were bloodshot, and its whole body began to swell and grow in rage. At the same time, its whole body exuded a terrifying killing intent. Damn rubbish, I will crush your head, squeeze your brains out, and tear your corpse into 8 pieces, so that you know what regret is. The chimpanzee roared furiously, the eyes became blood red, the body became larger, and the strength was even more powerful. The heroes who fell to the ground, as well as the surviving people, looked at the chimpanzees that were getting bigger and terrifying, and all showed expressions of despair. Previously, the chimpanzee was already very powerful, and the heroes were seriously injured and dying. Now the chimpanzee is furious, and the chimpanzee is getting stronger and stronger, and no one can stop it. So this moment, people could only sit on the ground in despair, looking at this scene in horror. Even the masked girl showed a desperate smile. Ha ha ha. Shake it, regret it, everyone who stops me will die, I will torture you, crush your bones a little bit, eat you alive, and watch you die in despair, ha 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 ha. 1. The chimpanzee was laughing wildly, its size had swelled to the size of a building, and the aura around it was even more terrifying to ultimate. With unstoppable absolute momentum, the chimpanzee raised its big car-like feet and prepared to kill everyone in a wild laugh. But right now, just as it lifted its left foot, the door of the house beside it was opened, and a young man wearing a dark mask came out. Be careful, the masked woman in the distance reminded her to use the tone. Yo, there are still survivors here. Just to try my strength, I will trample you to death first. For flowers, the gorilla said ferociously, his left foot slammed down, and he stepped on the dark masked young man below. Boom. The earth shook, the air waves rolled, and the terrifying and tyrannical gorillas exploded directly, turning into blood rain and falling from the sky, forming a blood rain area. And the dark masked young man put down his fist, looked around, turned around and left, walking away in the footsteps of Ta-Ta Tower. There were only countless people left standing there, dumbly looking at the shattered gorilla and the back of the leaving young man. Everyone was sluggish and motionless. For a long time, when the sound of the ambulance came, everyone woke up, and the discussion sounded the next second. Advertisement. It's so f***ing scary, and one punch actually knocked out the chimpanzee. It's so f***ing powerful. Who is that person? Is he also a hero? Why haven't I seen it before? The temperament is so unique. I don't know, but a gorilla who can blow up a gorilla with one punch is definitely a B level or above hero. This gorilla has fought against 5 B level heroes. 1.0. People were talking about it, looking at the direction of the young man's departure with awe, secretly guessing the identity of the young man. And those heroes are still looking at it stupidly, even in the process of being rescued by the doctor, they still tilt their heads and look into the distance. It's really strong. It would be great if I had such power, I could protect humanity well. The masked girl said weakly. Yeah, but unfortunately that's not something we can envy. Let's take a good care of the injury. It's estimated that it will take a long time this time. The hero who was seriously injured next to him said. Yes, eldest sister, you are really embarrassed today, it's the first time I've seen you so miserable. HMPH, my old lady's fighting ability can reach B rank, but she was only rated as C rank when she became a hero. Besides, my old lady's aunt is here today, otherwise I would never be so embarrassed. The masked girl said that she was carried into the ambulance. She was weak and tried to stay awake and chat with her companions, worrying that she fell asleep and would never wake up. Big sister, who do you think that young man is? Why is he so powerful? I have never heard of his name. Hiro continued. I don't know, but my mother, I owe him a favor, and I will give it back to him when I have a chance. I'll be the first to speak. The masked girl continued. Ha ha ha. Pay it back together, we'll pay it back to him later. The heroes said, trying to stay awake while guessing who the young man was. The strength of that punch to kill the chimpanzee was too shocking. Unfortunately, they couldn't even think about where Hazuki came from. D City. Hazuki looked at the newspaper in his hand, frowning secretly. He didn't expect to come to this world, a world that didn't even surprise him. It turned out to be this world. What time is it now? Did that person become a hero? Or did he not become a hero? Is the plot before it started? Hazuki said secretly, and walked to the outside of the city, looking for the surrounding forest area. First establish a stronghold in the outside world, and then figure out the time. If that guy becomes a hero, I'm afraid it will be very troublesome. As Hazuki said, he quickly left City D, headed towards the nearby jungle, and quickly disappeared.